Hello, welcome. I guess we can start. Let's just do it. Why not?
Let's just do it.
Welcome to an episode about much better movies than last episode. I think that's the headline.
Yeah.
Very excited to talk about these movies. I know they've been on the list a long time. I knew we would get around to these movies. And it seemed to make the most sense, not only because, well, I don't know that this is coming out Sunday. It might come out Monday. And if it does, yesterday was Batman Day. Our annual Batman Day, which is always exciting. But mostly, we should have had Batman 2, the Matt Reeves one, in October, like in a couple of weeks. And that got pushed out 2 years now, I think.
Yeah, it's in 2027.
Yeah. So in the spirit of that, might as well, let's just go back to the GOATs, the greatest of all time Batman movies, and just watch those instead.
Yep. Because there's nothing wrong with doing that.
No. Okay, so before we do that, though, do our normal stuff. What do we normally do? We normally check on the movie draft, share my screen for you to see. Hopefully, you see this. Otherwise, you're somebody who listens to the you're someone who listens to the audio podcast and don't care that I'm doing this at all. Okay, what?
But
were
it's still kind of funny. Did nothing change?
Not much, because the only movie that came out was Downton Abbey 3, which is on my bench. And The Conjuring Last Rites has been going gangbusters, but it's also on your bench. It is the biggest horror movie ever in a long time. I forget what I read. I
don't think it's ever. It's the highest grossing out of that franchise.
Okay. I think it's the highest grossing in a long time. No, I think it was a more broad statement. I think it was the longest in like a really, really long time. So almost over a quarter of $1 billion. So 370, almost 3 million, 373 million. But right now it doesn't count. Doesn't matter. Caught stealing, which I'm interested in seeing. I actually confused that movie with the Paul Thomas Anderson movie that just came out also. One Battle After Another, or something like that.
About to come out?
Something like that. Yeah, I don't really know. I don't really go to the theater right now, but I know I saw trailers recently for it, promos, and then Roofman. I finally saw a trailer for Roofman, and that's coming out next week, 2 weeks, next week.
I'm really excited for Roofman.
I didn't really know about it, and then I saw the trailer. I was like, "This looks fantastic."
It looks awesome. I didn't know anything about it when I drafted it. It was one of those where it was like, sure, because there wasn't much left because someone was taking the ones that I wanted. Yeah. And then I saw the trailer and I'm not going to lie, I was like, that's got really good potential. I'm excited for this one.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
That's why not much has changed, because Nobody 2 hasn't done much money and Caught Stealing hasn't done much money. And then other movies, which are apparently very good. Downton Abbey 3, apparently very good. 7.7, 92, and 96% on Rotten Tomatoes. I think it will
Just no one's watching it.
Well, it's been 8 days from the time of recording this. But yeah, that's not very much for opening weekend, I must say. Maybe Downton Abbey, the finale or whatever it's called. Maybe it's a good reason to wrap it up. Anyway.
Maybe.
Still winning over here.
I know.
That's the key takeaway from this. Other than that, what new things have you seen recently?
All right. So get your typing fingers ready, because I kind of watched a bunch.
Oh, boy. You know you're supposed to watch 10 random movies coming up soon.
Well, I haven't included those either. So technically it's more, but...
Okay.
Well, that's for another episode. Anyways, so I did go and see The Conjuring, because obviously I've got to finish the franchise. Been watching it since they started it. And, it was okay. It was all right.
Okay.
Yeah. I realized going into it, I was like, I don't remember the third one, like, at all. The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, or whatever it was titled.
Yeah. Devil May Care, I think is what it's called. No, I don't remember what it's called. I know that
Whatever.
there's a poster
Couldn't
of
remember
her
anything
in
that
the
happened
woods.
in it. So I definitely spent... What? Yeah, I spent a decent amount of time watching this final one, trying to figure out, like, was I supposed to remember the third one? Are there references that I'm supposed to, like, I was, expected to hold on to? Because I don't remember it at all. But it was all right. It was okay. I would say that it's a great example of Hollywood basically Hollywood does, like, do you remember the Cliff Notes, the little books that were out when we were kids? You were homeschooled. You don't.
Totally. No, but I read full books. I was required to.
Shut up.
But I do know, I am aware of what Cliff Notes were.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, I feel like this last Conjuring movie was a great example of Hollywood doing the Cliff Notes from the Cliff Notes version of, like, theology, and then thinking that was okay and being like, that seems accurate, because it's really bad. It's so bad. But anyways, the movie was all right.
Interesting.
What else did I watch? Oh, yeah. So I did watch, you had already watched it, and then I was like, well, it's on. I'll see what got Jake so hyped up about this documentary. So I watched Unknown Number, the high school catfish documentary on Netflix.
You texted me the day after we did last episode. And
I don't want to say, I could not text you about it. I'm not going to spoil it for people, but wow.
Yeah.
It takes a lot for me to be, like, stumped or completely taken off guard or completely shocked and a little speechless. Yeah. People, go watch this documentary. It was actually really, really good. And it kind of put me on this, like, documentary. I'm just going to watch a handful of these kinds of documentaries. So I also ended up watching Trainwreck Poop Cruise.
Say that again?
Which was about Carnival Cruise. What?
Poop Cruise? Did I hear that right?
Poop. Yeah, Poop Cruise. That's the actual title of it. It's called Trainwreck Poop Cruise. Can't talk.
Sounds good.
Good thing we have a show. So it was about the Carnival cruise ship that got stranded in the middle of the ocean and no electricity, couldn't use the toilets, and so they were telling people to poop in red biohazard bags. Not big ones, but like grocery store size plastic bags. It was funny, it was gross, it was awkward, it was entertaining. So I would check that one out. And then after that, I was like, well, I'm going to continue watching Just Terrible.
You recommended
I watched another one called Trainwreck. Yeah. Woodstock 99. So this one I was actually very interested about because growing up in the 90s, Woodstock 99 always kind of had, like, this lore about it. You knew it got really bad there. Watching the documentary made it really, like, there wasn't one good decision made during that whole weekend. It was interesting. It made me not
I don't know any of the bad decisions.
The
like,
dude
in what category?
No? It gets bad. So there's, like... So it was, let's redo Woodstock, from the 60s, where it was all peace and love and all this, and people were there to get high and, like, the hippie fest and listen to good music. So they did it with Woodstock 99 thinking, hey, we'll make, like, this great Woodstock showing again. It'll be peace and love. Of course, as they were thinking, it'll be peace and love, and, like, people will come just to listen to music, they booked bands like Korn and Limp Bizkit, and then put, I think it's like 250,000 people out in the sun for a full weekend without water, with way too expensive food, lots of drugs, lots of alcohol, and then people started rioting because there was no, it's bad. It gets crazy. So check it out because it gets nuts.
Okay.
And then I watched one more documentary because I was very interested in this one.
Yeah.
I watched AKA Charlie Sheen.
Okay.
He has so he made a documentary about his own life, from
autobiographical
childhood through the prospering career into the Tiger Blood winning phase to now.
Okay.
Check it out. That was a very well done documentary. It's so brutally honest.
Yeah.
It's a little awkward, but it was really well done. Very well done.
Okay. Interesting.
Okay. And then I watched the movie The Long Walk.
Yeah.
It's a new movie that just came out. It's based on a Stephen King book. That was pretty good. I very much enjoyed that. It's weird because it's an hour and almost 2 hours of kids walking. Obviously, there's a little more to it, but very interesting movie, very interesting concept. It came out before the time of the Hunger Games and what is that, Battle Royale or whatever.
Yeah.
Definitely before all the teenage, hey, our government is forcing us to kill each other. This is the government kills the kids to inspire hope in the country. It's super jacked up how they try to work it, but that's the point. It was very interesting. The more I thought about it after I saw it, the more I was like, yeah, I really dig that movie. That was a good flick.
Okay.
Very good movie. And then finally, so everyone knows how big of an Office fan I am.
Yeah.
And Peacock just released the official Office spin-off series called The Paper.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, let's see how terrible this ends up being.
Very skeptical.
I was. But it wasn't bad. It does have some funny moments. It definitely reminded me of that first season of The Office before it really gets its footing. Kind of that, maybe a little more like the first season of Parks and Rec, where it's just trying to be its own thing enough.
A little more
it's
polished.
Very reminiscent. Yeah.
I haven't figured out how these characters interact quite yet.
Right. But the funny moments were really funny. The characters are entertaining. The main guy, Domhnall Gleeson or whatever.
Yeah.
I've only ever seen him in very serious roles.
Yeah.
And to see him play this dude who's just always trying to do the right thing and then having certain moments backfire on him and his reaction to it, he does comedy pretty well. I gotta give him that. So it's not as bad as I thought. It's not as good as The Office. It will never be.
Sure.
But there are some fun nods to The Office, which I think are well done. And one of which is I hope they really explain how it happened. But Oscar is not a cameo. He's actually a full reoccurring character again.
Okay.
In the first season. So
nice.
His interaction with the camera crew is very entertaining. It's probably my favorite
I can imagine
part of it. So
okay.
Yeah. And that is finally it.
Wow. Okay. I have only 3 things. So I watched I Know What You Did Last Summer, the new one.
The new one?
The new one, yeah.
Oh.
Just to see. Because
is it as bad as I thought it would be?
Well, here's the thing. I wouldn't say I'm the biggest fan of the original ones.
Right.
So it's hard to be It's way worse. It's not, I wouldn't say it's way worse, but all of the new characters and relationships are completely forgettable, and I have zero investment in it all. It's probably the worst example of like a requel, what are those called? Reboot, requel thing where they have the legacy cast come in and
okay.
Really, I didn't know what was going on or care about anything until Sarah Michelle Gellar, whatever her husband's name is, real life, that guy,
Freddie Prinze
Jr. shows up, and then I'm like, oh, okay, now I'm interested in this for a minute, and
for a minute,
yeah, and but it was, I mean, overall, the kills were pretty good. I would say it wasn't the worst thing in the world. Oh, hold on, that reminded me of another thing I watched. Speaking of being killed,
haha, 4 things. Wow, you watched a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. Hold on while I try to think and talk at the same time. No, yes, think and talk and type at the same time, even harder. But it was fine. It was whatever. If you like the first one, you probably would think this is a fun continuation. I don't think there's a reason to hate it. But also, no one's going to remember it, that it came out either, I don't think.
It won't have that kind of campy, like fandom to it.
Yeah. And I was most of the time I spent trying to even remember the first one and who the villain is, who the guy with the hook is. I was like, is it a ghost? Is it a person? Why does he have a hook? Is he a whaler? I try to remember the whole backstory. There's like a whole
the movie
nautical
came out
theme.
In 1998. It's got to be a whaler.
Well, there's a nautical theme, like he's a ship person. It's not like a bailing hook from a farmer or something. You know, they're on the coast. Shut up. You know what I mean? Okay.
He's
other
a
things.
Whaler.
He's something. He's like a.
He's not a whaler. He's like a fisherman.
Yeah, same thing. A fisherman is a small game whaler. A whaler goes for the big kahuna, you know.
Kids, we should probably give you a disclaimer.
I think whaling's illegal also. So
it is. Has been for a long time.
Back in my day, it was a good time.
So kids, at the time of recording, Jake and I both acknowledge that we are running on fumes. So random tangents will probably happen.
Yeah. I will try to not collapse into that giggle fit that happened. I apologize for that again. That was the worst.
That needs to come back.
I'll try. It may come back, but I'll try not to. Okay, I also watched Nobody 2. I'm trying to catch up on 2025 movies. I've missed so many of the movies that I was excited for. Still haven't watched them.
Yes, you have.
And so I'm trying to knock them out and get through the list. So Nobody 2 came out. Excited about it. Watched it. It's a lot of fun. It's definitely a lot of fun. If you remember the end of the first one and how you're like, this is such a fun movie. The action's fun. The story's fun. The interactions. Christopher Lloyd is fun. This is that again, basically, except they go to an amusement park and it's even more fun and silly in ways. And it's violent and it's perfect. I think it's really, really good. I don't know why people aren't seeing it in the theaters. It's really good. And then I watched Weapons, finally. Maybe not finally. It hasn't been that long.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I really liked it. I think that I was very nervous. I talked about it before, that I was nervous because I didn't like Barbarian. I liked the first half of Barbarian a lot. I thought that the lead up and the mystery and just when they, not to spoil Barbarian, I won't spoil Barbarian, but they start explaining the monster and humanizing and making you care about kind of that situation. And then it just becomes a completely different movie. And I'm like, I wasn't watching that movie. I was watching this other movie, and I'd rather get scared and have people get, tormented. And so I was worried that it would do the same thing. And I don't think that it did. I think that it had a much more consistent through line and payoff for sure. I really liked how it's structured around the different characters. You kind of see the different perspectives of the story. And it was saying that sounds like things you've seen before, but I feel like I haven't seen it done this way before, where it just kind of focuses. There's no jumping back and forth. It's just, here's this person's story up to this point. Here's this person's story. And then it all makes sense, and it's all really, really good. And I think I don't know. I was thinking about it for a long time after watching it and kind of other takeaways from it, other meanings for it.
Right.
Just seeing the kid and kind of just go to school after experiencing terrible things at home and nobody really asking how he is, or not really letting on that things are bad at home, just reminded me of kids that are in abusive situations or being trafficked or whatever. And it's a really good, I think, analogy on a lot of those things. So really cool, really interesting, and pretty scary, I would say. And then, well, I mean, not really scary, but Anyway,
it's not
I watched
scary at all.
Some people will think it's scary.
You know what? Don't judge me.
Not all of us have the fortitude of a lion or something. Anyway, I watched Final. No, we're not. Let's move on. I watched Final Destination, the new one.
Yeah, you did.
And that movie, like the gore in it was the funniest part for sure. Just from the elevator girl getting cut in half, and I was like, oh, this is here to play. Like, they are taking this seriously, and I am here for it. So it was really, really fun, really, really cool. Yeah, I think it's just such a good continuation of that franchise, and I hope it keeps going now for a long time. It's a good reason to keep a franchise alive. Unlike I Know What You Did Last Summer, that didn't make any sense at all. But I digress. Okay, I think that's everything. I guess the other thing to mention, you alluded to it, we also watched a bunch of other new stuff trying to get ready for next episode, because last episode, or I guess 2 episodes ago, we spun a wheel and picked 10 random movies, and we're going to watch them all together. So if you want to watch these 10 random movies with us, you should go to the Instagram and see what they are and where you can watch them, primarily for free. And then next episode, we will be talking about all these 10 movies. And it's been an interesting experience so far. I know that you said last time you watched the one we were most excited for, Alabama Sasquatch. I did watch that. And I know you will have some very interesting things to say about it.
Because I would imagine your initial reaction to it, and by initial reaction I mean like the first 2 minutes of the movie, where I was like, what movie are we watching? Like,
I was very, not to give anything away, but I was very worried when I started that movie. I was like, did I send him the wrong thing?
I almost texted you to be like, Jake?
I was like, it's not, I was like, did this download the wrong thing? Is this a parody? It was in the porn relational department for sure. And I was like, I did not know that we were doing this. I did not sign up for this. I thought it was a joke when the like uncensored X-rated thing came up. I was like, this is going to be funny. And then it started, I was like, was that for real? Is this really what's happening?
Yeah, I was very much like, wait, no.
Anyway, so
we'll get into that.
There's a lot more to say about that movie and all of the other 9 movies that we watched that are random. And so, go watch those so you know what we're talking about and can experience the craziness. And you can find that on Instagram. I put it in our story highlights at the top of our profile page, all of the movies, so you can easily find them there and not have to go back and listen to the episode where we pick them out. Okay, so that's next episode. But this episode, we're talking about Batman, which we're both pretty big fans of Batman.
You could say that we like the character. You could say that we think he's cool.
Yeah, he is pretty formative in our entire lives since childhood, I would say.
Right.
And we've experienced pretty much every iteration of Batman. We've seen every movie, I would say. Every movie.
We've definitely experienced every live action.
Not every comic, I'm sure, but a lot of comics.
A lot of the comics and a lot of the animated feature films that they've made over the years.
WB animated movies tend to be pretty good also.
Yeah.
Animated series, very, very good.
Which is still just like
that's the bar.
It's still the best.
That's the bar.
Yeah, it's like, what? How is a 22-minute cartoon just so flippin' amazing. Yeah. But anyways, obviously we can't talk about every iteration
aspect
of the character.
Yeah.
Because we would probably never be able to leave the chairs because we'll just talk forever. So, but we do have to, because it's still regarded as like one of the greatest versions. For me, it's my favorite version. Obviously, we're fanboys, but we got to talk Nolan's The Dark Knight trilogy.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because it's been like 20 years since Batman Begins.
Oh, I know. It's been a long time. And I think it's getting to the point where next generations are finding it is one thing and being like, oh, everybody talks about how great The Dark Knight is. But no, not as many people talk about Batman Begins and Dark Knight Rises. And so I think people are finding it, and that's pretty exciting. And then also you get to kind of see, was it just a product of its time, or does it hold up to the scrutiny of time? And spoiler, does for sure.
It does very much.
And also, I think a lot of people is starting to have that Citizen Kane effect. Not to talk about Citizen Kane again for the however many times in the last 4 episodes.
You're obsessed with Citizen Kane.
But the fact that it was so groundbreaking in superhero movies and really did transform the genre into something that can be taken seriously. It wasn't that, and there wouldn't be any MCU without Nolan be pulling this off.
Yeah, and that's not. I know you're not just saying that because we're Nolan fans. Like this is legitimate. Jon Favreau has been very open. Him and Kevin Feige from Marvel have been very open about this. Of like, after seeing what Nolan did with Batman, made them realize, oh, we can make a comic book movie that's legit. And so that's kind of how they wanted to map out the MCU initially. Of course, then it became what it is. But yeah, Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy set a whole different bar, whole different like standard for scope, costumes. I mean, it made people like, oh, we want to see this. This looks this looks how I would imagine the character to be. Like, this is okay. All right. I still chuckle every time that I watch the trilogy, knowing that Nolan set out to make a trilogy about Bruce Wayne, which is why you don't see Batman a lot, but you see, I think it's just funny how he worded that, because I'm always like, well, the cowl is he is Batman. Even, Rachel tells him that. Spoiler.
Yeah.
But it's funny that he set out to make a movie about Bruce Wayne, but the whole thing is like, he is Batman. Batman is like his true self. So it's kind of funny that Nolan reversed that kind of mentality, where it was like everyone thinks of a Batman as Bruce in the suit, but he's doing a trilogy about Bruce Wayne where it's Batman's wearing the costume of Bruce Wayne. So it's really interesting how he took kind of the Superman principle and applied it to Batman in a very grounded, very real way. And it's so good.
Yeah, you don't think about Batman and Bruce Wayne as much in the secret identity sphere. Like, obviously nobody in the world knows that Bruce Wayne is Batman, but he's not as like, I don't know, dressed up and different in a lot of ways that you don't think of his performance, like his performance as a playboy, as the mask as much. And that's one of my favorite parts of Nolan's movies as well. Yeah, it's interesting, I think, just remembering when it came out and how different the world was. And the last Batman movie was Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
And then they're like, well, let's do another Batman movie. and we're going to be super serious. And I think everybody was like, yeah, sure, that's going to go great. Because after Batman Forever and Batman and Robin, it's like, I don't know about this. Like, it just felt like feeding a property, feeding an IP, not doing anything of substance with it. And so I do think it took a lot of people off guard that it was so grounded in the real world. I think one of the most interesting things about the movies is that it very much appeals to fans. It nails all of the characters, all the relationships, all the references and Easter eggs and story arcs. But it also is very general audience accessible. Everybody went and enjoyed these movies, whether they knew anything more than they're like, oh, Batman used to be Adam West or something, right? And and then they still went, oh yeah, it was a great movie. I'm sure there were a ton of people saying that. It's still one of the highest. I mean, Dark Knight especially, one of the highest rated movies on IMDb ever.
Yeah. Yeah, it's at like 9.1 or something like that, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Awesome and accurate. But yeah, I remember when Batman Begins was coming out, I was very hesitant about it. I was very like, no, I still got PTSD from those bat nipples, man. Like, I just can't get over the heel clicking with the ice skates coming out or the surfing through the sky. Like,
yeah,
a lot of PTSD. And so I didn't see Batman Begins for like a couple weeks after it came out or something like that. And what was funny about that was my best friend in high school, he actually went and saw it, and he was not a fan of Batman. He never liked Batman, but he ended up seeing it, and he came back and he was like, you should probably watch this movie. And I was like, really? And he was like, yeah, you should probably give this one a shot. And I was like, oh, all right. I don't know. And then my brother, he was in town visiting. He found out I hadn't seen it yet. And so he was like, we're just going to go.
We're going immediately.
We're going to go and watch it. Like, what are you doing? Not watching this movie? And I was like, man, I don't know. I'm just still like, And then I watched it. And it was like, I will say, it was one of those movies where the opening shot with the bats and you see the symbol, which was like, it's one of my favorite things that Nolan did for like the quote unquote title card of just the symbol in some other form or whatever. Very cool. I still get excited about it.
Yeah.
And
with that score playing.
Yeah. And I just remember seeing the symbol with Hans Zimmer's score, you know, that Batman theme, and just being like, huh, this already is very different. And then it's the first, Batman Begins was also the first Batman movie that introduced Bruce Wayne before showing Batman. So I was like, oh, this is interesting. Like, we get to see Bruce as a kid. You see him at the opera, which Nolan changed it to the opera from Mask of Zorro.
I love his
I can't
reason.
remember why, but
I know why. His reasoning is very interesting, and I think I agree with it. It's that when you put a movie in your movie, or you have characters in the movie going to the movie, it makes the audience that's watching suddenly aware that they're watching a movie. And so even though it's subtle, it will subtly remove you from being as engrossed as possible. Like, you're in the world with these characters, and then when they're talking about a movie or in a movie, you're like, oh yeah, I'm watching a movie. And it just takes you out even a little bit, and he doesn't want that. And so yeah, he changed it to going to the opera, which works perfectly well for a rich family to go to. And the visuals and the bat symbolism and the fear that the kid obviously feels going to this really scary kind of crazy opera, I think all completely works.
Yeah. And seeing, you know, Thomas and Martha get shot in the alley, everyone knows the origin story. But what got me really excited that first time I watched it was seeing Bruce leave Gotham for the 7 years to actually train and become a like ninja. So we, for the first time ever, still the only version that did this, we got to see Bruce actually train with the, now they call them the
League of
Shadows, whereas the comics is the League of Assassins, but it's the same thing.
Yeah.
I was so excited because I know everyone gets so burned out on the origin story of all the superheroes, especially like the main 5.
That's a big thing now where everybody's like, do we need it? Let's just skip it. And we're still going to reboot stuff, but we'll skip it and do something different. Skip
origins. And I actually agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
But what also sets Batman Begins apart is it's not so much the like, everyone thinks that mom and dad dying is the origin story, but that's just part of it. That's like the catalyst. He trains for 7 years as this like would-be assassin, learns all the stuff. You get to see where he gets all the ideas for his theatrics.
Mm-hmm.
Ra's al Ghul, which was like, we have a live-action Ra's al Ghul. When we were prepping for this, I had to laugh still because I'm like, we have a live-action Ra's al Ghul. Like,
yeah, and it's I love these movies. They're perfect on so many levels: cinematography, acting, character writing, everything. I have a handful of issues though that I will bring up. One of them is I'm a big Ra's al Ghul guy. I've always been, and it's probably animated series, animated movie stuff. So it took a while for me to be like, oh, he's Ra's al Ghul, because he's always been Ra's to me. So League of Shadows, totally fine. Ra's al Ghul, I'm like, no, thank you. He's Ra's al Ghul, please.
Ra's.
But yes, it's really cool to see him. Really cool to have really all of these characters to have.
It's even
like the deep cut Easter egg characters, like when you first introduced to Rachel and she's at the courtroom and
and you've got
off Victor Zsasz, who's like, that's just so cool.
It's so quick.
We haven't had like a filmmaker care about the world and lore like this.
Yeah, and he just the way he handled all of it, like, but I just remember watching that first one and not even really realizing that the movie goes on. I mean, it's like 2.5 hours, and for over an hour of it, you never see Batman. It's just all training. It's just all Bruce with the League of Shadows, and then coming back to Gotham and getting ready to set it up, and you're like, this is crazy. Like, Nolan actually took the origin story and fleshed it out so that the audience could have a better understanding, instead of like, oh, Rich Boy just suddenly decided, I'm going to beef up and beat people up. But no, we actually get to see like the anger. We get to see the power and the speed and just the ninja that is Batman, which is so cool.
Yeah, it's nice to not have it reduced to a montage for sure. And I think it adds context to the character and to the world in particular as well, because you see kind of what the city was like when he was a kid and when his dad was trying to do his best to make it better and giving it, good transportation and all of these things, and then how much it falls apart and starts to eat itself, and you wonder if it can be saved or not. And that's kind of the main battle between Bruce and Ra's, that should it be destroyed and start over, or should can it still be saved, basically?
Can it be redeemed?
Cool. It's also, you mentioned it being so long at over 2 hours. I was looking back at it because I still think it's weird that Christopher Nolan, the guy who made Memento and Insomnia and all of these movies, was like, I will take on this comic book trilogy. And also, I just don't understand him. The way he looks and the movies he makes, I feel like I understand him. And then he'll be like, I like Speed, and I like Ricky Bobby, and I like
Talladega Nights is my favorite movie. Wait,
like, he's just such an interesting guy. And so to then to come out and decide to not only make these comic book Batman movies, but then also use them to really, I don't know, become what he's going to be. Everything that you know about Christopher Nolan now, making epic films, using IMAX cameras, having longer run times. He didn't have a movie over 2 hours before Batman Begins.
Mm-hmm.
And he hasn't had a movie under 2 hours since, except for Dunkirk. Dunkirk's like an hour 40, and it's intentionally fast. But all of the rest, he's like, I do epic movies now. And this was his first attempt. And yeah, experimenting with IMAX cameras in each movie, doing more and more and more. And then that led us to Oppenheimer and Odysseus, which is going to be like all IMAX, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah. Well, it's not just that he's become like the IMAX guy, but him and his team have like recreated the IMAX camera.
Yeah.
And the film used for it. They've had to make brand new special film for, like, when they did Oppenheimer, they had to have the black and white film for it. They had to, like, so it's not so much that he's like, oh, he films with IMAX.
No, he's pushing the medium forward.
Yeah, like the dude is actually actively being this crazy filmmaking engineer, and it did start with Batman, which is very interesting watching it, because like you watch Memento, I don't know, it's weird for me because there's a moment where I'm like, when I watch Insomnia and Memento following, like they're amazing, they're perfect films, but it's almost kind of subverted where it's like, those don't feel like a Nolan film. But the moment you put, Batman Begins, and you're like, from the very first, that song, that Hans Zimmer, like, instrumental role that he does for the Batman theme, and you're like, this is a Chris Nolan film. This right here, like, you don't even have to have a shot on. You just instantly know.
Yeah.
So yeah, now I'm like, the giant epics, that is Nolan. That is Nolan.
Yeah.
The fleshed out stories, the crazy action, the practical effects, all of it is just, this is Nolan.
Yeah. It's been a while since I watched all 3 movies back to back. I will say The Dark Knight's obviously my most watched on its own. But it's been a while since I did them intentionally, like one after the other all the way through. And doing that, I kind of realized that because of the opening shots, because of the score and the sound that comes on for each one, and kind of how it builds slowly each time, it very much feels like the same way that the Lord of the Rings trilogy feels for me. Like when you put those on and it starts up and a little music comes in and then the title opens, you're like, this is just a different feeling kind of movie.
Yeah.
And that trilogy is just perfect in that way for sure.
I think it's a really interesting trilogy. So I always watch them as the full trilogy.
Okay. Begins
through Rises. I just, like, I can't not do that. It's like trying to watch only Back to the Future 2 and calling it a day. Like, what? No. But what's so interesting to me is Batman Begins, and I've really been trying to figure this out, because when he set out to make his movie, or this movie, it was with the intention for a trilogy. Like, we're going to have a 3-part series on Batman, and we're going to focus on central themes that pertain specifically to Bruce. You got fear, power, and I forgot the third one. Anyways.
Sacrifice?
No. No, each one has like a very specific theme, and now I'm drawing a blank. Figures. Anyways,
is the third one power?
I think so.
Then the second one would be
because Begins is about fear. Yes. Yeah, I think it's chaos. I think it's that fear, would be chaos, and power.
Between the Joker and Two-Face, who chooses his own luck and then decides to finally give in to the chaos of fate. Yeah.
Yeah. But when you watch Batman Begins, and of all the great trilogies out there, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Batman Begins might be the only first-parter and planned trilogies that really can stand on its own. Like, if they never made, well, maybe the first Matrix, but it really is just that, like, first-parter where you go, this can be its own movie. I don't need, like, more. I want more.
Yeah. That's very true.
Because it, like, Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I kind of have a hot take about Batman Begins in that I think that it may be the most completely like perfect and flawless of the three. I think that Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises aim a lot higher and do a lot more. And I think that's why people like them more. But I think Batman Begins, as the movie that it is, maybe it's because it can be self-contained partly, but also I think just the structure, the pacing, the introduction, the closure, the themes, you get a complete glimpse into everything. I think that it's the tightest and most completely and fully fleshed out of the three, I think. Not that I don't like the other two or have any issues really with them. My issues are very, very small. But there's just something about that first one. Like, this is incredibly well done.
Yeah, it is a wild, like, I'm going to sound like a critic. Actually, I think this might be one of the things on the, like, physical copy where it's like, it really is. You hear movies get called a wild ride. Batman Begins really is a wild ride. Because it starts off very patient, very just like slow building. Just, we're going to let you just watch Bruce do his thing for a while, trying to, figure out what to do with his anger, where he gets challenged on, like, as mad as he is, where does he still have morals, limits? But once he dons the cape and cowl, the scene at the docks, like, from that moment to the end, it goes so fast. It goes, like, I always underestimate how quick it escalates. All of a sudden you find yourself on the train and you're like, wait, he was just beating guys up in the Narrows. Like, what?
Right.
Yeah, it's just, Batman Begins is so unique. So your hot take is Batman Begins is like
the most well knit together of the three, I think, basically.
I would call it, I don't know if I'd say it's the most well knit, because I think Dark Knight's attention to detail on all of that is better. But I would say Batman Begins is more, I guess, theatrical, pun intended.
Sure.
Where it feels like Batman Begins is the Batman action movie that I think everyone had always wanted to have since the first Michael Keaton one.
Yeah.
Where it was that, like, we got full action-packed Batman story. He's in the suit. He's in all this.
In the car.
You get the cool car. My hot take, I know he had to turn his head, and I have nothing against the suit in Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises. I love the style of the suit. I really do like the maneuvering, just all that. But the suit he wears in Batman Begins is daunting. Like, it is.
It has the silhouette, especially down.
There's something about just when he's in that suit, it's like, this is Batman. This is, that's Batman. Like, I love the armored suit, and I do find it fun that they still went very tongue-in-cheek for their, like, we need to be able to move. I would like to turn my head, because no actor until Christian Bale was able to turn their head wearing the cape and cowl.
Yeah. They do a good job of hiding it in the first one. It's not as, like...
Right.
Like, there's is it Batman Returns or something? I think when he's flying the jet and it's just like just the way that he turns his whole body to see if you see the camera. It's so funny.
Yeah. There's just and getting the first live action Scarecrow, which Cillian Murphy is amazing at. I still laugh knowing that he auditioned to be Batman. And trying to picture him as Batman, I'm like, I really can't see him doing that.
Yeah.
But I'm so glad he signed on to be the Scarecrow, and now he's like one of Nolan's go-to guys.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I love Scarecrow as a character, and having him as the villain is so fantastic in the first one. And I like that he's also just the kind of the second most consistent through character other than Batman himself, that he shows up in the second one, and you're like, what, shouldn't you have been arrested? Shouldn't you be in Arkham? And you're like, oh yeah, this is like the comic books where of course he gets out. And then at the end he's still there and still around.
Still pops up.
Just makes it feel like a fully fleshed out Batman world, I think. That's why it's so fun to me. But I also enjoy how the movies, it's so interesting to me. And I was trying to focus on this point. I don't know why. Maybe because I hadn't focused on it ever in any of my previous watches. I was trying to focus on it watching the three this time. All three movies are extremely similar to each other. They follow the same sort of structure. They have the same conflicts. There's the same two villains in each one. There's a covert that you don't know about and an overt, obvious villain in each one. But even though they are so similar and feel so similar, they also are so different. And I think they're so different because Bruce is in a very different place each time, and the city is in a very different place each time. And so for that reason, it really doesn't matter if you could do the exact same everything, and putting it in a different context and having Bruce react differently is a completely different thing.
They're comics.
Yeah, that's
true. They're essentially comic books, like, because that's what the comics do. It's typically the same thing, just new spot, new kind of context, but it's the same, formula. In every comic. You and I mentioned Batman the Animated Series at the start. Every episode is the exact same formula. They move the exact same. The only times it's different is if it's like a two-parter episode.
Right.
But really the only difference on slower. They do it slower. It's dragged out. So it is interesting that they are very, very similar. And that he did just stick to kind of a comic book formula, but he made these movies, everyone, a part of them told this story three separate ways that really just like emotionally got people. Like people just actually connected to the character of Batman. They actually understood his motives. They actually, it wasn't just a cool, it's an action movie with a guy dressed up. Like, we know Batman, he's got gadgets.
Right.
Like, it was, you get invested. And of course, especially with The Dark Knight, I think Nolan really kind of like dropped the floor on people in certain decision making moments where it was like, oh, there are high stakes. Oh, like, I still question every time. Not question, but I always chuckle every time I watch The Dark Knight, and we'll get into it a little bit later. But how he managed to get a PG-13, because that movie, when you really like kind of broaden your scope on it, you're like, this should have been a hard R. Had there been one splatter of blood, had people actually thought about Lao on top of the burning mountain of money, like,
right,
like Two-Face himself.
Yeah. So much of it is very creatively shot and edited. That of all three movies, I was like, I don't know, maybe more aware, because I feel like it is such an accessible, family-friendly kind of movie. But then I was like, no, that guy's dead. That guy's dead. That guy just got shot. Like, all these guys are getting mowed down by this gang. All these people are dead. This is like, I'm like, this is not at all friendly. This could definitely be an R-rated action movie.
Wait a minute. But back to Begins. Just I still, like, every time I watch Batman Begins, I think about the first couple times that I watched it in the theater. And that first one especially, where every new scene, every frame, every moment with Bruce, I was like, this might be the answer that, like, Batman fans have always wanted. This might be like it.
Yeah.
This really might be it. You know what the moment was that I knew, like, oh yeah, this is perfect Batman?
What?
It's his birthday party.
Yeah.
When he's talking to Roz, and Roz is like, you're more than welcome to tell everyone what's about to happen to him, to get him to leave. And the way that Christian Bale plays it, and he does it in The Dark Knight as well, where he goes into the costume, the mask of Bruce Wayne.
Yeah. You see him change character in front of your face.
Yeah, and it's like there's no cut. It's like a full-on mental, just like, here we go, getting into character. And so him pretending to be drunk and kicking people out is so well done. But the little detail about it that gets me every time is when he taps his glass and reacts to it like a drunk person would when, something's like, oh, I didn't expect that. The way he does that, every time I watch it, I'm like, this is him.
Yeah.
And then he does it not that exact same way, but he has another tiny detail in The Dark Knight where he throws the champagne off of the balcony.
Yeah.
When people think that he's drinking it, he's like, nope.
Right.
I love that. I think that's what sets these apart so much, is there are so many little details to watch everyone doing that you're like, everything's intentional. Everything's done on purpose. I think the only character that I'm like, this is such a, like, this guy, how is he the DA, is the DA. And it's when they're walking on the docks and he's like, I don't know why this random container showed up, but I'm assuming I'm not supposed to know. Every time I'm like, dumb. Why? Dumb.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. That's for sure.
Like, this might be the most obvious moment in a movie where this isn't going to turn out well for you.
Yeah. Right. No, I completely agree. I think the performances of all the characters completely sells all the characters in a way that we've never really seen them before, and adds a richness and depth to them. And it's partly because the cast is insane. Not just Christian Bale, who does so much, but Liam Neeson as Roz and Katie Holmes as Rachel, or what's her face, Gyllenhaal as
Maggie
Rachel.
Gyllenhaal.
Maggie Gyllenhaal.
Yep.
Either one. Do you have a preferred Rachel of the two?
I do.
I'm always borderline annoyed when they change actors, but I also
that was done because Katie Holmes decided to make a bad decision.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, she decided to not reprise her role as Rachel for The Dark Knight so that she could go and work on the movie with, I don't even remember what it was called, but it was with like Diane Keaton and Queen Latifah.
Oh.
And
it's like a Will Smith choice.
Kinda. Like, no one remembers that movie. It had zero, nothing.
Yeah.
It didn't help her career.
No. I thought she was escaping Scientology and decided to not.
No, I think that came after.
Okay.
But I'm not positive on that timeline. But anyways,
yeah.
I do have a preferred.
Okay.
And it has nothing against the other actress, because I think both actresses are amazing as Rachel. But I think Katie Holmes just fits what they were doing with that character so well.
Yeah.
I think, and it probably has something to do with she's in the first movie, so you have time to get to know her. But I liked her tenacity. I liked her maintained innocence.
Yeah.
I like that
how she pushes back on Bruce.
And I like that she looks kind of, this isn't meant to sound bad, but it might, she looks kind of frail, but she's not. And I think that was actually one of the better ways of that character, was
that's true.
She looks like she could have a very bad day in the subway, but when you watch her in it, you're like, she could hold her own. I think she'd be a fighter.
Yeah, Maggie's much tougher looking for sure.
Right. Maggie gets that, like, the lawyerness is really well done, especially when she's talking to Lau in the holding cell.
Yeah.
That scene is really good. Her interaction with the Joker is amazing, but that's more on Heath Ledger than on her, because every time I watch that scene, I don't think she's acting. I think she had to, like, go into, and we'll get into
She's just along for the ride at that point.
Yeah. But I do prefer Katie Holmes. I just think, I really do wish she would have been in The Dark Knight. She probably still could have managed to make it to film that other movie, you know. It's not like she was needed for the entire shoot, so...
You don't know. You don't even know what the movie was. She might have been pivotal the entire time.
No, I meant in The Dark Knight.
Oh, yeah, that's true. She's only has like 5 scenes.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. No, I also prefer Katie Holmes' rendition of it. Although I will say, by about 30 minutes into The Dark Knight, I'm like, okay, this is Rachel now, and I'm fine with it.
Right, because I can't hold anything. It's nothing against Maggie Gyllenhaal. She's great in the role.
Yeah, it's just that first couple scenes, I'm like, this isn't the same.
But then you're like, well, it is what it is, and this movie's amazing.
Yeah, it sweeps you away, so I guess you forget easily.
I do really like that. I like that Nolan created this whole new character of Rachel Dawes, because she's not in the comics. She's not a part of Batman lore. But I really like that he created her specifically for this, because she's also that connecting thread throughout the entire trilogy.
True.
And I think it's really cool that she still follows the same kind of like love interest that all of Bruce's girlfriends have, where he falls in love, he's trying to keep it secret, but then he's like, hey, I'm Batman. She's
and
like,
keep her out of danger.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
She gets mixed up with the villain somehow. Like, it just...
She gets kidnapped. Murdered.
She gets kidnapped. But I'm glad that it was brand new. It wasn't like Vicky Vale again, which they really... Honestly, they could have done that. And like...
Completely.
It's Vicky Vale.
Instead of a lawyer, it's a reporter.
Right. So, but I'm really... I like that. And I think it's even smarter just with how they handle her character in the second one. That really drives Bruce's, and you know where his intention goes from there and stuff. So, and his drive. But yeah, Batman Begins is so good. It's like there are so many moments in that movie that is like, how do you film such a perfect Batman movie?
Yeah,
like the cape. The car is so much fun.
The car is a lot of fun. I remember I felt very adverse to it in the beginning because it is so different. And I'm obviously a child of the 90s, and the Tim Burton long car was great. And of course, the animated series is probably my favorite Batmobile ever. Yeah. Everything about the animated series is great. So this one is very chodish, very short, very fat. But also fits the reason of the world, and very utilitarian, very just makes sense, and it does the things that it needs to do. And it's incredible that they actually built it and made it work. And
not just one, they built 5, I think.
I think so. They recently, not that recently, but started selling off several of them, which is crazy. But yeah, such a cool thing to see rolling around in the real world. It definitely works really good. And it's
I remember being a little kind of like, ooh, it's like, yeah, short and fat. Like, I don't know how I feel about that. But when you see it in action, you're like, yeah, this fits the character. This makes sense. This is, of course, Batman's going to drive a tank. So,
right.
Which I think one of the funniest things about it, so when Lucius is describing the Tumbler to Bruce. Nothing about it is ever described in terms of being an offensive vehicle.
Yeah, it's a bridging vehicle.
A bridging vehicle. It's supposed to be there to help bring things together and help. I think it's really interesting that there's cannons attached to it. Like big cannons.
By Dark Knight Rises, you're like, this is a little offensive, like offensive, you know?
Like, but I think it's really interesting that, you know, I called it a tank. They call it a tank in the movie. But I think it's really interesting. What a cool detail that, yeah, it's got these cannons, but you learn through the course of the movies, the cannons on the vehicle aren't meant for like assault on anything. They're there to like blow up debris. They're powerful because they got to blow up rubble. So I just think it's cool though that they used Batman and this new version of the Batmobile as like, it's a small detail where, hey, his vehicle is not meant to be this
harm.
It's not there to actually harm. Now he's kind of a great / terrible driver as he's like busting up, you know, parking garages and rooftops. But it's, I just like that detail where it's like the idea of this vehicle being this bridging vehicle that's there to help. It's just kind of brute force helping. And of course it's Batman driving it. I like that detail, that little parallel.
Batman is a great brute force helper for sure.
Yeah.
That's kind of his thing. And I was listing names before of incredible actors. It feels like the kind of series that you should have like a bunch of major characters introduced in the second movie. But then when you watch it, you're like, no, all of these major characters are in the first movie. And Gary Oldman is in this movie, and Michael Caine is in this movie, and Morgan Freeman is in this movie. And Morgan Freeman as Lucius, describing all of those things, their relationship and all of the relationships. I would say this about every relationship in the movie, whether it's Alfred or Gordon or whatever. It's just, it comes across so familiar as to a fan of Batman, but also so, I guess, sincere and unique to fans, the people that aren't, that you can go into it and completely understand the dynamic between these two people in a way that's very genuine, but also as a comic book fan, as a Batman fan, this is how it should feel. And it hasn't always felt that way. And I think that's part of why there's always that risk with a new Batman movie. You're like, oh, how is Alfred going to be? Do I like Alfred or do I not like Alfred? And
is he going to be the frail old man from like Batman and Robin, or are we going to get military Alfred?
Right.
We get military Alfred. It's kind of cool.
Very cool. Yeah. So I love all of the characters and how they interact with each other. It's just such a huge, I don't know. I'm so impressed in these movies how they nailed this characters and the stories and connected it to comic book things that you know, and that David Goyer and Christopher Nolan, who wrote the stories and screenplay for the first one, and then the story for the other ones, and Jonathan Nolan came in to help with the screenplay as well. They just got all of that so completely, and it's so impressive. And we have a lot of examples of superhero movies and comic book movies where that hasn't worked out like that. And I think that's just proof why it's so impressive.
Well, it's funny that you brought up David S. Goyer.
Yeah.
That still blows my mind. So David S. Goyer is a writing credit on the whole trilogy. And, but then you look at his other credits and you're like, the same guy that helped write the Dark Knight trilogy, like the greatest comic book trilogy of all time, is the same guy that made Blade Trinity.
It was probably a 80-20 split with Christopher Nolan, maybe.
Like, I saw a quote with him though, where I think he understood the like, this makes no sense, but it happened. Where he was like, I'm just so thankful that my name is attached to this, and I can't believe that it's actually attached to this. Like, right. Because you watch Blade Trinity and you're like, there's no way this guy, whoever wrote and directed this one, is gonna like have anything great, and they're like, oh, he did the Dark Knight trilogy. What?
Yeah. Yeah, it's very true. Well, and also, I mean, I don't know the story of how Blade Trinity was made, nor do I really care. But it is a weird thing in Hollywood that it's hard to say for any given movie how much of that is the writer's vision and how much of that is what was on the page, and how much of it was done the day of, how much of it was killed in editing, how much of it was killed by the studio or inspired by the studio. Because like, you have to put this in here, that kind of stuff. And so it is a very fluid thing.
Right. Or, you know, when your lead actor is refusing to make eye contact with your cast, especially like his primary co-star, so you have to CGI open eyes on him. That's a real thing, by the way.
Was that Wesley Snipes didn't do that?
Wesley Snipes refused to open his eyes to make eye contact with Ryan Reynolds during one of the scenes, so they CGI'd his eyes over his eyelids so that it would look like
I saw that movie once ages ago. I'm going to have to rewatch it and look for those eyes.
Now you want to rewatch it to be like, where are the CGI eyes?
Yeah, I'm like, does those eyes look real?
They're there. They are there, Jake. They really are.
Is it super obvious?
One of my favorite things about the trilogy is the character of Lucius Fox.
Yeah.
Because he is such an obscure character in the comics. Like, he showed up a couple times in the animated series, but he's always just been not really known by anyone. So the fact that they not only have him in the movie, but he's like heavy hitter through the trilogy.
Yeah. He's as important as Q to James Bond.
Yeah, like, it really is exciting just having that full scope. And I think it says a lot about Nolan's intention with the story, where it wasn't just another Batman movie, but it was really like, no, we're going to show you this world. We're going to have these characters. You're going to actually know and understand where the gadgets come from, how he managed to get all of these things, how he manages to afford all of these things, even down to like the board of the company. Like, it's just all these little things. It sounds nerdy. It is, but that's exciting.
I like that kind of stuff too. I like that it's always super custom tailored to a specific niche, that it's like, oh, there is this like base jumping group of people that need this certain thing to work this certain way. That would work for you. Or, oh, in the 70s, in the CIA had this skyhook operation that you could just yank somebody out with an airplane. We'll use that. We'll just do that. It's like, yeah, people have figured these things out, and they generally don't use them because why would you? But in this specific application, it actually would be a really good idea.
It would be a great idea.
Yeah. So to have a guy to source that for you is a good thing.
Right. And then just to piggyback what you said, I don't know I think you know this. Nolan's The Dark Knight trilogy actually helped inspire some of the military to try and put Batman's gadgets into like, maybe there's something here. So they have made like the grappling hook. They have done it. They've done the fabric. They've done like all these little things that Batman has used in the comics. Nolan brought into a quote unquote practical way. And they're not the exact same as what we know, but I watched a documentary about it where they're like, oh yeah, the gadgets work. Like, this is a thing. Now it's just getting them, like, perfecting them over time. Of course, that documentary was many, many years ago, so they probably already have it all perfected. They probably had it perfected at that time, but they were just like, don't tell the public. So
yeah. And it does, so much of it is explained in a way that you completely believe it could be real. But then also in my mind, I'm like, is Christopher Nolan doing the Christopher Nolan thing where he says enough things that make it seem like it would make sense that I just assume that it's real? Like, with
accept it.
Yeah, with when you put the electrical current through the cape stuff, that it becomes super stiff. And I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. I'm like, does that make sense? I don't. It doesn't matter. We've moved on from it.
Well, but even when you're questioning it, you see Batman like pull the cape out and it slows him down. It helps him drift. He can jump off buildings doing it. And you're like,
Yeah, you need it to be stiff at times and loose at other times, and that makes perfect sense.
Yeah. The cape is so good. Yeah, it's just, there's so many, from the cast, from the characters, the structure. Gary Oldman as Gordon is still like, honestly, I don't think we're going to get a better Jim Gordon. I don't think we will.
I think he's probably the most improved character of any of the, like actually fully fleshed out, fully realized, fully performed, that more than we've ever seen before. We've had good Alfreds before. We've had good Alfred relationships and all of that stuff. So I totally get it. But Gordon has always been kind of just he's the police commissioner, and he's kind of at odds with Batman, but kind of okay with it. But this is a completely different Jim Gordon that you see go from being a little detective to being the commissioner of the police force is pretty fantastic.
Yeah, and it's just seeing the relationship of the two, Gordon's kind of hesitation to actually trust Batman, but then he's like, well, he did give us the crime boss and his whole crew, so twice.
Yeah, maybe we work with that guy.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to get a better Gordon. I don't think we'll get one. Gary Oldman is a master of his craft, so there's that. But I don't think we're going to get a better showing or fleshed out iteration of the relationship between Jim Gordon and Batman. I don't think we will. I think, I mean, unless James Gunn has some like super duper magic up his sleeve, I don't think he does. No offense, but I just don't think we're going to get that kind of arc, that kind of story between the two. Because Gordon has always been treated as like, he's the commissioner. Like, he's okay with Batman-ish. As long as he's not watching him do his thing. But he's kind of like all the other iterations, it's always been Gordon's trying to take charge. Batman shows up and Gordon goes, okay, never mind. And then moves on with his life. And Batman does all the work. In this trilogy, Gordon is very active still. He's very like, I'm not taking a step aside. You do your thing and I'm going to continue doing mine.
Yeah.
You know what I think
he kind of understands that Batman needs help too. And they can work together to actually achieve the same goal of fixing the city.
I know they don't do it a lot, and they don't do it like at all in the third one. But that's okay, because the third one becomes like such a high escalated story so fast. But rewatching the trilogy, I did have to chuckle at something. And I'm going to bring up Matt Reeves.
Okay.
When I do this. So Matt Reeves set out to make the Batman. And he wanted it to be a full-fledged detective story, which it is.
Yeah.
His reasonings had been because we had never had a detective Batman shown.
I remember that.
Which I like kind of agreed with for the longest time. I was like, yeah, we haven't seen Batman be detective Batman. Rewatching this trilogy, though, I was like, there are some moments in Begins and The Dark Knight where he throws down some detective IQ that no one would have thought of. No one would be.
First thing I think of is when he needs the crime scene to himself before they can contaminate it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he takes the bullet and he figures out all the stuff and
how to find a fingerprint on it. His like the way he's just like all the gadgets he uses to investigate the drugs. It made me chuckle because I was like, Nolan definitely gave us Detective Batman, but he did it in such a like kind of not punchy in the face version of it, with the exception of the fingerprint on the bullet. But that's because that scene is so loud. Oh my gosh. That scene is like...
That scene is almost as loud as the club scene. When he walks into the club and it's like, thump, 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 like that. You cannot watch Dark Knight quietly, that's for sure.
You can't watch the trilogy quietly. Like there are so many, the sound which I think was another Nolan figuring out his Nolan ways, where he was like, oh, the sound, we're going to escalate to where people are going to be like, I think my eardrums are about to blow up. He's like, you haven't watched Tenet yet, but yes, that's coming.
Yeah, I remember seeing Dark Knight Rises in IMAX. I was like, this is so loud. So like particularly the beginning, where it would go from like conversation with Miranda Tate to an airplane and blowing up and all this stuff.
The Wall Street scene is where I remember, because we were sitting next to each other, and I remember being like, whoa, I think like this is intense. We'll get there. But anyways, so I forgot, I lost what I was about to say about Batman Begins.
He first detective story that he
he is a detective. Like throughout the movie he's doing detective stuff. He's just, screaming at people in their face to swear to him, which is still cool. I know it got turned into a meme because of the Batman voice and all that, but here's my thought. People can laugh at it on this side of the screen.
Yeah, completely.
But if a super jacked dude who already has a very quick reputation of like, he takes guys out in a couple punches, if not just one, gets in your face screaming in that growly voice with that cow staring right at you, and he's like unflinching, I don't think I'd be turning that into a meme. I don't think I'd be laughing too much. I'm pretty sure I'd be
turning my shorts into a meme. Yeah, it's completely accomplishes his goal of inducing fear on the villains.
Right.
And particularly the swear to me scene. That is just my favorite. That it accomplishes, you're like, yes, completely. I am bought into this voice. No matter how many times you have to like explain what's going on. So, but run out of breath while you're doing it. Like, I do sometimes, I'm like, it's a little silly at moments, but it also completely works and I don't mind it at all.
I read something interesting about the Batman voice.
Okay.
Apparently, while shooting it, Bale's growly Batman voice was not that loud. It was kind of more whispered, as you hear in certain scenes.
Yeah.
And Nolan was like, no, we're going to boost that up a little bit. So Nolan is actually fully responsible for how loud the Batman voice gets, whereas Bale had, I guess, according to the fun facts about the movie, had spoken in more of like, not a whispered, but it was a little bit quieter where the growl could just be that raspy growl, which you do hear that like when he's talking quietly to Rachel a couple times.
Yeah.
When he's
Gordon.
When he's talking to Gordon, like that was the voice. But when it comes to like confrontational scenes, I guess Nolan was like, we're going to turn the volume up on that one.
It's a good choice.
So it is funny that people blame Bale completely or try to poke fun at it, but I like the Batman voice. I think it set him apart from Michael Keaton, who never even changed his voice. He uses the exact same. It changed it from like Kevin Conroy's, which is so clean, just different tone. I love how Snyder and Affleck handled theirs, where it's like the actual voice modifier built
part
into
of the cowl. Yeah.
I thought that was a cool idea. I think it's funny. It's still growly. It's just not as.
Yeah. They're like, no, that was a good idea for it to be really scary.
Yeah. Because it needs to be.
Yeah.
I think one of the coolest things before we move on to The Dark Knight, because I think we need to.
We'll bounce back, I'm sure, a couple times.
Right. Well, yes, because this point comes up again throughout the whole trilogy, which I think is something that sets Nolan's Batman and Christian Bale's take on the character. I think it's one of those things that really sets him apart. And as brilliant and amazing as Ben Affleck was in it, I think this is actually why I prefer Bale's, like his iteration of Batman. It's his final line in Batman Begins where Gordon is saying like, hey, I didn't get a chance to thank you. And Batman tells him like, and you'll never have to. And he jumps off the building before Gordon can have a chance to like just blurt it. Throughout the trilogy, Batman never does anything for like a thank you.
Yeah.
He doesn't even really go for the recognition. Like, his version of Batman is the full surrender and sacrifice that Bruce just, that's what he vows to do, so that's what he's doing, and he sticks with it. And so that full sacrifice, that full, like, I don't need the thanks, I don't need, like, the full recognition. You know, he tells John Blake in the third one, like, the idea of the mask is anyone can be Batman. Like, I'm just the guy that did it.
Right.
I think that's why his version is gonna stay supreme to me, is because it's that first full-fledged, like, yeah, Batman is actually sacrificing. You know, Bruce goes out and sacrifices his body. You know, he gets beat up. You get to see the bruises, which I think is amazing, that you get to see him beat up and having to sew, you know, a dog bite shut. But that, I think, just the idea that, like, Bruce's understanding of there is something greater that can be achieved and inspired. He's okay being the one to make that sacrifice for it. I think that's a really cool thing that we've never really seen completely fleshed out in the character.
Yeah. No, I completely
agree.
Except
for Affleck's, the version of Affleck's that never got made, because that's what he would have ended up doing. But
sure. No, I completely agree, and I think it does come across clearly from beginning to end, that sacrifice, and particularly in Rises when he's talking to Selena, she's like, "You gave these people everything," and he's like, "Not yet, I haven't."
Right.
And it's at that point where you're like, "Oh no, you're gonna like my Batman's gonna die." But yeah, that theme throughout all three movies, that the city needs a symbol of justice that's bigger than a man, that isn't just beholden to an individual who can be killed or corrupted or whatever, that it kind of is larger and it belongs to everybody, and that is a shining beacon that everybody can rally around and actually work towards improving society around. And so it's a really, really insightful thought for him to start in the beginning with, but then he definitely sees it throughout and all the way to basically handing the mantle on to somebody else to continue the mission, which is really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dark Knight is, I mean, I don't know how to say anything about Dark Knight that anybody hasn't already said before.
Right. I was laughing about this. I like that you said it first, because rewatching it, I was like, there's literally nothing new that we could say.
It is the one weird thing about The Dark Knight for me, though, is because it's become so hugely popular, and primarily because the other stuff outside the movie is so big, like the promotional materials and the posters and the memes and the Facebook posts and the edgelords and all of that stuff. They've really taken that Heath Ledger Joker in particular, but also just kind of all aspects of the movie as I don't know, a different vibe than what it really is. And I think for that reason, I always kind of think of like, oh, The Dark Knight was this thing. And when I haven't seen it for a while, I always kind of remember, oh yeah, I see it everywhere. It's always has this vibe about it. And then I go back and watch The Dark Knight. I'm like, this movie is not that at all.
Like,
this movie is just such a perfectly, clearly defined, everything works, even the things that maybe shouldn't. And it just does. And it's such a cool movie. And and I have that realization from the very beginning. As soon as you see the back of Heath Ledger with the mask hanging out down at the side, and as soon as you see the guy punch out the glass, and it's like the first sound that you hear of the window, and he's about to put the grappling hook or zip line down, I'm like, I'm in. I'm immediately into this movie.
Man, I remember. So I was part of the crowd. I've done this twice. That was like, they cast Heath Ledger as the Joker. Boo! Like, they just ruined the whole thing. Like, everything good you had with Batman Begins, you just threw out the window.
Right. What do I know?
What do I know? You would have thought that I remembered that humble pie, like when they announced Ben Affleck was going to be Batman, and I signed the petition online to have him recast because I was so upset. And then I saw him as Batman. I was like, okay, he's pretty awesome. Okay, more humble pie for Dustin. So I don't really have a whole lot like new to say about the movie as a whole, but the experience of watching it is so, we did that episode a while back where it was like movies that if we could go and rewatch for the first time again. I couldn't remember if I had The Dark Knight listed on there.
Good question.
If I didn't, I should have.
Yeah.
Because that was an experience that no one was expecting. And it was like a collective, full, just everyone felt the exact same during every frame of that movie, where it was like, this is not what we thought this was gonna be. Like, Dark Knight is complicated. It's very detailed. It's a crime gangster movie that happens to have Batman in it. It's like,
yeah.
But I remember we saw it at the midnight showing. Also,
weirdly about technological surveillance and the powers of that can be abused.
And, like, an understanding that there still has to be a line drawn and followed through with. There's this understanding of not breaking your one, don't let your morals go. I think Joker's speech in the interrogation room still sends chills down my back, just because it always just hits me with like, this sounds so logical. Like, as he's telling Batman, these civilized people will eat each other, and then I look at the world around us and I'm like, oh my gosh, the Joker was right. Like, no, the Joker can't be right. Oh my gosh. Like, like, the detail of the Joker being the ultimate agent of chaos, but when you watch the movie, he has everything so meticulously planned and plotted that like you overlook it the whole time until you rewatch it a few times and you're like, every little thing, he is like, yes, he is a guy with a plan. He just doesn't look like he would be.
Yeah, he's just putting on this facade.
Yeah.
As like a way to disarm you.
That opening midnight showing, back when they did real midnight showings.
They don't do that anymore?
No, everything comes out the Thursday before, like in the morning.
Yeah, that's true. There was no way to see it until midnight that Friday.
Right. But oh my gosh. Yeah, the opening shot with the blue and black, and you get the symbol, and you have that crazy sound.
Yeah, it's like a shrill violin.
That unnerving string. Where, again, first frame of the movie, and you're like, oh, what am I about to, like, like, what's happening? There's blue and black fire, like, this, I feel uncomfortable. The window gets blown out, and you're in the middle of a heist.
Yeah.
This is cool. But when Ledger takes that mask off for that up-close shot of him, where it's like, he's centered, but it's that awkward frame. The framing is just so off-putting. Man, I will never forget.
Bump up the bass on Stranger.
Stranger.
Yeah.
The whole theater went from like, cool heist to like, no.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you get that amazing Batman scene where he's like, you got the imposters, you get Scarecrow again, which is just fun.
I'm not wearing hockey pads.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie. Okay, I'll say this. I'll be honest. The first, like, 2 times I saw The Dark Knight, and I watched it so many times in the theater. Like, get off work. I was married at the time, and be like, I'm going to go watch Batman. You want to watch it with me? Like, no, we already saw it a couple times. Okay, I'll be home later. Like, I'm going to go and watch Batman. It was just something else. But that, oh my gosh. There was just something, like, I can't get over that first viewing of Batman, of The Dark Knight, It just, it hadn't been since, like, The Passion of the Christ for me, where the whole theater, you could hear a pin drop in the room after certain scenes, where you just knew everyone was like, what happened? Yeah, because you were forced to. That's the brilliance of, one of the brilliant moments of Nolan's trilogy is he doesn't give you a shot to look away. You're in it for the duration, and you have no clue where it's going. But yeah, the first time seeing the magic trick and the moment the dude's head bounces off the table, I remember the whole theater was just like so unnerved that you miss him going, ta-da, it's gone. Like,
yeah, that's probably my favorite thing about it, is how balanced it feels between, particularly Joker's performance and writing and everything. It feels between unnervingly terrifying and a little silly. Like it does need to be a little bit fun, and like he's having fun doing it. But and there's moments like that with like the ta-da, or when he's in the big chase and he's in the semi and they're chasing the Harvey and the thing. Like the sound of this whole car chase drops out for a split second just so you can hear the Joker go, oh. Like he's just a little surprised that Batman showed up and did that. And I was like, it's just those beats, those little comedic things. It's like, it's just enough Joker funniness to actually work.
There is definitely plenty of silliness, like little jokes throughout the trilogy, like little one-liners that are thrown in that don't take you out of the severity of the story, but they kind of give you that levity where you're like, oh, okay. Like that was my breather. That was my, okay, thank you.
I'm still having fun at a blockbuster movie.
Right. Like, cool. You got slaughter is the way of life written on the side of the semi. I always love its two Joker moments when he's driving the semi and he's like, I like this job. I like it. That cracks me up every time.
Yeah.
But then there's another one where it's right after Batman, he like launches the tumbler and gets hit with the RPG and it blows up. There is that quick moment with the Joker where it's just a and it's so quiet and it's so quick and you're like, wait. I didn't hear it the first couple times, but the hockey pads line, I didn't know what he said for like the first 2 or 3 times that I saw the movie.
You're not alone. For maybe a year, I thought he said hockey masks. And then, because I was thinking ski masks in my head.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, of course they're wearing ski masks. But then I was like, oh, hockey mask doesn't make any sense because a hockey mask is a Jason Voorhees thing. And then someone was like, no, it's definitely hockey pads. You're an idiot. And I was like, oh, I think I lost a bet on that. I was like, he definitely says hockey masks. No, he does not say hockey
No, he does not. It's hockey pads. Once I've realized what he said, now I'm always like, it's pretty clear and obvious. He says hockey pads. I just having a dumb moment.
Yeah.
Just I loved how they showed, hey, Gotham has been inspired, but it's kind of not gone exactly the way. Like we have these imposters that show up, and of course it turns out really, really bad for one of them. Which is another moment of just like the audience starts getting comfortable. And then you get, the stakes. I think that was one of the things about The Dark Knight, that sets it apart. I will say this. It is one of the very few comic book movies where the entirety of the film, you really do believe anyone and everyone is fair game. I think the only guy that watching the movie as a whole that will make it to the end is Batman himself. Everybody else, though, across the board, you're like, I don't know.
Yeah. I would say even Alfred should be safe, but then you're like, no, they could definitely pull my heartstrings if the Alfred was in danger and Batman needed to save him.
Because Alfred is, he's present. He's the one at the elevator when the Joker and his crew walk into the penthouse. So, the thing that I think just keeps me coming back to The Dark Knight being so good is it really is that movie for me where anytime I pop it in, I can't just have it in the background. It grabs my attention. It is just the whole time I'm watching it, I'm constantly excited. I'm constantly replaying that first viewing of it where it was like every new scene was just built on the net. You know, it just kept escalating. Mm-hmm. And the movie really does take you on a journey, which is crazy because you stay in Gotham. Right. Well, you do go to China.
It's true.
And that's a cool little detail because it's also the first Batman movie that shows Batman operating outside of Gotham. That's fun. It's like a reminder that, Batman doesn't have a jurisdiction. Like, he's not.
Right. He's not confined to a box. He goes wherever the evildoers are.
He kind of gets to do what he wants. It is such a brilliant movie. And I think it's one of those where it stands the test of time because I think it's because it took everyone off guard. I think we all went into it that first time expecting just a normal comic book movie. You know, hey, the first one was really cool. This one will probably be like on par, maybe a little less because it's a sequel. And then it like made Terminator 2 look like Child's Play, and it just like
redefined the best sequel option out there.
It really did.
And I think it did it for a lot of reasons. I think one reason is that when you're watching a Batman movie, you're like, as an audience, I feel, and I think a lot of other people feel like you're exempt from the world. That you're like, oh yeah, the world is terrible, and all the people in that city are terrible, but I would be Batman. I would be on the Batman guy. I would be great. Dark Knight kind of shows you like, no, if you're in the situation and it kind of turns it around on you when all the people are on the ferries, and they're trying to figure out, would you like commit this potential atrocity to save yourself? Like, there's always a situation that you could be put in where you feel like you would have to lose everything or something like that, that you would sacrifice your principles or your one rule or your morals or whatever. That do you have that strength that it really takes in some of those situations? And other Batman movies never really asked that of the audience before, to actually participate mentally. I didn't feel it in any other movie before.
I don't think they do. I think The Dark Knight really is that movie that fully challenges the audience. Exactly how you said, where it's like everyone claims they could be Batman. Like, yeah, that'd be really cool because we like the muscles, we like the gadgets, the suit, the car. It's so cool. But what makes Batman so amazing is his firm stance on his morals, his like absolute refusal to not go certain levels. That being said, I think it is funny how much flack Zack Snyder got for Batman killing people, because every Batman, with the exception of Adam West and Kevin Conroy's animated series, Batman, every Batman has killed someone.
This movie definitely makes an attempt to not outright murder anybody. But,
except for Two-Face going down.
Well, yeah. But there's also a lot of explosions and crashes and car chases, and you're like, that is not as safe as you made it seem like it should be.
Right.
Also, I think the movie, the reason I keep coming back to it and rewatching it is because it is kind of what you said about the first one and what you said about the trilogy in general. It is so well thought out, and all of the details are there that things that I haven't even noticed yet are still there for me to discover. Issues that if I try to analyze something, for me to run into an issue, be like, oh, why did that happen? Or who knew this? Or what happened at this point? For pretty much all of those cases, for all of the ones that I've interacted with so far, Christopher Nolan already thought about it. So I encountered one of those this time rewatching it when Joker is at the firing squad and he's on the color guard at the funeral, and the Joker doesn't have his makeup on, and he turns the rifle towards the mayor and tries to shoot him. And you see the Joker, and you see the other guy that gets arrested later. What's his name? David, whatever, from Late Night with the Devil. You see those two guys, but then the camera kind of goes all the way down the group. There's a quick, like, fraction of a second shot as that happens, as Joker pulls his gun towards the mayor, where you realize, and I'd never noticed it before, maybe I blinked, everybody on the firing line in the color guard turns to shoot at the mayor. It's not just the Joker. It's not just the Joker and that one other guy. It's all of them, meaning that the Joker sourced all of these criminals and crazy people and put them together in this group. And I think it explains the question that you've never asked before, which is, how did nobody notice that the Joker is standing there without his makeup on and his face is fucked up? And because you would assume, if you were working in a police force and you're in that position, that you'd be like, hey, who's the new guy and why does he have these scars on his face?
He seems distinguishable.
Yeah. Nobody asked that question because none of them actually work for the police. And so it's just an interesting thing that it could have just been the Joker that turned to shoot at him. But I think it's even more terrifying that 7 people or whatever, all of them turn to shoot at the mayor.
Like they all fire at least aim in the same general direction.
Yeah. And then everything falls apart and it's chaos and you don't even know.
I do think it's interesting because I've heard people complain about that scene too, of like how the one guy gets shot in the leg and then that's how he's arrested, or in the foot or something. And Joker just like scurries out of there. Well, one, the villain's always going to make it out pretty quick. Sorry.
Right. Also, did you see the beginning of the movie where every other person gets taken out intentionally and he's the only one to make it out?
I think it's also interesting. One of my favorite things about The Dark Knight is how it does rely on the bigger picture, not necessarily what is directly on camera, but like it really forces you as someone watching it to think on a bigger scale.
Yeah.
That there is more happening all around. The camera just happens to be right in here. So when Joker fires, I think it's crazy how fast he drops the gun and then crouches and does like kind of that swirl. But what I think is brilliant about it is he is fully relying on the sheer panic all around him. And when you think about it, when there's absolute panic, it's very easy to lose sight and be able to track something that you might be able to hold on to, or
nobody's paying attention.
Yeah, your attention gets drawn every direction. So it's like he literally hides in plain sight.
Right. Completely.
And he's relying on people's lack of awareness and their panic and like the chaos that he's going to create. He relies on all of it. I think it is amazing to me how they made him, which the Joker's always been like, oh, he's insane. He's crazy. He's so like everywhere. Heath Ledger's actually isn't.
Yeah.
He's very methodical. Like to the point where he even reads his like manifesto. He doesn't even have it memorized. He actually recites it. He's reading it from his own notes. It's like, but it's interesting because one of my favorite ways that he speaks is actually that his first full scene with the mob bosses where Gamble's calling him crazy and he tells him, no, I'm not. Well, he doesn't say it that excited, but he like, I can't even recreate it, but the way he pronounces the T when he reiterates that he's not crazy. For me, being a comic book fan, one of my favorite lores of the Joker is that he's always actually been hyper intelligent, and that's what's kind of caused him to go this route. And he thinks it's fun to be the catalyst of Batman, the polar opposite. This is the first time I've ever seen a Joker ever where he reiterates that, like, I'm actually not crazy.
Yeah.
And he's kind of offended by it.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
I wouldn't want to be offended. Like, I don't normally care about offending people, but That'd be one guy I wouldn't want to cross.
Right. And that it's people have trouble seeing past the facade, that even though he tells them and very explicitly says, I'm not crazy, nobody takes him seriously.
No one takes him serious, but it might be the most serious scene with him.
Completely, yeah.
Like, it's that moment where you're going, oh, that was the real, like, that's the real Joker right there. That's where this is all to entertain himself. But that, whatever the dark area that part just came from, like, that's him. That's the real Joker. That's frightening.
Right. And I think he has that in everything, that planned out brilliantness. I think that's why he has multiple stories about how he got these scars. I think he has 100 stories that he can use in any given situation, depending on what makes the most sense for who the audience is.
Yep. Man, the scars. Or the stories about the scars.
Yeah.
We mentioned it when we were talking about Batman Begins, but I think this is another reason I keep coming back to The Dark Knight. I've seen the movie hundreds of times, basically have it memorized, and yet I can never sit through the scene where he's talking to Rachel. I can't be comfortable during that. I just can't.
Yeah.
Like,
it's just like the way he holds her face, it's all of it.
It is, the way he's holding her, the way the blade's not even against her, but how close the knife is to her face, and you're like, this is just, and then her eyes are closed, and she's just like being forced to be in that. There is not one moment of that scene that you're not, or I'm not comfortable. It is a constant, like, come on, Batman, come on with your, you're gonna love me. Like, come on. Like,
a little earlier would be nice. Yeah.
I think that scene has one of my favorite stories from Michael Caine. I guess the original script was Alfred was supposed to have dialogue with the Joker, but that was the first time that Michael Caine saw and acted with Heath Ledger while he was in character with the makeup. And he forgot his lines, so he literally could not
just watched the scene unfold.
Yeah, he just watches the scene instead.
That's amazing.
I love that. Like, yeah, Heath Ledger. I mean, I know that's what everyone talks about, and you can't not talk about Heath Ledger as the Joker, because much like Nolan did with the superhero genre, I think Ledger set the bar for comic book villain. Which you could almost blame Ledger for why we have such a hard time with Marvel villains. Yeah. Because there's never anything super unique. And I think, at least personally for me, I'm still waiting for the next Ledger Joker. Not the exact same, but to take that bar.
That transformative, unexpected,
And to say, like, be a villain. Like, you watch his Joker and you're like, this is a villain. This is, like, he is. And then you see what he does to Harvey Two-Face, which, as comic book fans, we know who Two-Face is. We know what he does. But there is a whole new level in The Dark Knight with why he's doing what he's doing, the way that Joker just completely wrecks him.
Yeah.
And you don't realize that the Joker's been wrecking him until like it's too late, and you're like, man, this must be how Batman feels right now.
Right. Speaking of Joker wrecking Harvey, though, I mentioned I had a handful of issues with these movies, and we can talk about the two I have with The Dark Knight while we're here. There's kind of a third one, but not really. So the not really one is I don't love the whole radar and cell phone sequences thing.
Yeah.
Like it's part of it, and it's an important part of it, and it's fine, I get it. But I don't love it. It's not my favorite part of the movie. But the issues I have, the first one, the Harvey and Joker one, is when he's in the hospital and he has the mask on and he takes it off, and that's when Harvey decides to, like, react, and it comes across as like he's shocked that it's the Joker, even though it's clearly the Joker, even though he has a mask on. And like the more I watch it, I try to give it grace. I'm like, maybe it's not like a shocked thing. Maybe it's just a struggling to get out of the bed thing. Like, but it comes across as, oh, I'm surprised it's you. You just took off your mask,
right?
Which is silly. And it could also be that he just came out of his little woozy coma or whatever. There's a million ways you could explain it. But when I first saw it several times, it's kind of weird. The second, this is the dumbest thing. The second issue I have with this movie, but I feel it every time I watch it, is when Bruce has jettisoned from the bat pod from the tumbler, and he's now in the bat pod and is going to save. He's harpooned the semi truck with the wires. Is it
driving on the wall?
It's driving on the wall, where he weaves through the poles, and then the only way he turns around is he drives up the wall, spins 180 degrees, and lays it back down. I'm like, that looks stupid. I'm sorry, Christopher Nolan. That looks stupid. Every time I feel that way. So they're like, just skid, just turn around. That's like 10-year-old me would have thought that's a brilliant idea. That's so cool looking. 38-year-old me, it's not cool, dude. It's so silly.
So I'm not gonna try to like rebuttal, but I'll play. I don't hold the scene in the hospital. Like, I know a lot of people are like, how does he not know it's Joker? It's clearly Joker. And the shot just before this, he literally guns down a cop. Like, he just executed a cop right there in the room in front of Harvey. Of course, Harvey's going to know. To me, it comes down to the same idea with the, like, in that kind of situation, how would you react? Or, you know, I think it's an elevated thinking scene. I don't think Harvey is shocked or surprised, like when he takes the mask off and it's clearly Joker, because it's already clearly Joker. I don't think it's shock. I think it is just, I think it's Harvey just wanting so badly to kill Joker in that second. I think he's just trying to get to him. I will agree with you that it does come across as he's surprised, like, oh my gosh, you're the Joker. How did I not see you underneath that terrible disguise with your man
I think it's just
hands?
a timing thing.
I think it's the timing thing.
If he did it before the mask came off or a little longer after the mask came off, it would come across different.
Yeah. So to me, I think it's one of those where Harvey's kind of like trying to decide how he's going to be able to kill the Joker. And he might be going for like, I've got, you know, just pure rage. But I don't know. I tend to, because I'm such a fanboy, I tend to like look past a couple of the things. I don't want to say that it's an issue for me, because it's really not. But there are two moments that the first time I saw it were the only two moments that I was like, oh well. And then I moved on. I don't really think about them too much anymore because I'm pretty used to them. But one is him driving on the wall and turning around. And the other one happens just a couple minutes before that, where Batman comes out of the building and the front wheel is spinning and he parks in front of Joker.
That might be an issue if I still could figure out what I'm looking at. I'm still not entirely sure what happens in that scene. I think the tumbler's wheels not only spin this way, but can spin this way too.
But the turrets spin with it.
Yeah. But the turrets are kind of centered more.
And that's what gets me, because I think my brain is always like, if it spun like that, the turrets would hit the ground and Batman and the Batpod would go, whoop.
Yeah, maybe.
So I do.
Okay, fair enough.
Every time those two quick moments, because they last for a millisecond each.
Yeah.
My brain does one very specific thing, which you oddly enough stated. I revert back to like a 10-year-old kid sees that, they're going to think that's the coolest looking shot in the whole movie.
Yeah.
So I give it grace because I honestly think that's what it boiled down to. I think they were just like, what would be kind of a cheeseball thing, but might look kind of cool? What would be a shot for a kid who might need a breather?
Yeah.
Especially because of what's about to come up in just a few minutes. What would we be able to give a kid to be like, oh, that part's for me. Cool. Do they make sense? Not at all, because I think the turrets are going to hit the road and flip the bike, or I think the turrets are going to hit the wall and Batman's crashing into the wall, and that's going to be pretty much the end of the movie right there.
Yeah. I get how you can go up the wall. That's I want to move on past this, but I get how you can go up the wall. I don't get how you can then get it to turn around. That's my main thing.
Batman is pretty strong, so as he goes, maybe he's turning the wheel to get that
maybe
maneuver and momentum.
I mean, it's the dumbest thing. You could be like, well, Batman has a gizmo that shoots a jet puff of air and it flips it over.
Well, I mean, if you think about the Tim Burton Batmans, he does have a gadget in the car that I don't know why you would ever think to have this, but it blows off the entire sides of the car, makes it narrow so he can drive in between buildings.
You never know when you need it.
Apparently. All that to say, I think those are moments that we are just expected to remember. It's a movie. Just enjoy it. And I think Nolan probably purposely did that because he knows that the events that come up immediately after that, from the interrogation room to the end of the movie, there's really nothing fun for the remainder of the film.
Yeah, that's true.
It gets real dark really, really quick after that.
I think it's a good move, and I like that it gets dark after that. I like that Rachel dies and how that affects Bruce. I like that everything that leads up to Rises, that Bruce takes the fall for killing Harvey, and then the police have to basically hunt him, and he can't be the hero that he feels like he is meant to be anymore. He has to be something else in order to continue to fulfill that sacrificial role that we already laid out to save the city, because it is what's best for the city, even though it's not what's best for him or best for kind of what his goal was, I guess, initially. But I think the Rachel thing in particular, and how that affects him, and how that plays out in Rises, where he never gets to hear her letter, and just kind of continues to go on believing I had the love of my life in my hands and I lost her, and but not knowing that she didn't choose him is such a hard thing to break through, which is dark and cool at the same time.
Yeah, I think that actually is a factor to his defeat at the midway point.
Yeah.
Because I think Rachel plays such a heavy role in his, one, he's wants to, ultimately, first and foremost, he's trying to be that symbol for the city. But then he's also spending so much time wanting to prove to Rachel that he can be more, that Batman will have a day where he's not going to be a thing. He's not who Bruce actually is, even though she's like, you literally cannot not be Batman.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
I had to make sure my double negative actually made the positive. We're good. So I think when he loses that drive and that part of him, of that I need to prove, not just to her, but to himself too, I think that knocks him down a bit. But before we get to Rise, there was just, it's kind of funny. There really isn't anything new to say about The Dark Knight. It's just that movie, man, I don't know any other movie that still hits me this way.
Yeah.
After all these years, it'll almost be 20 years for The Dark Knight, which is crazy.
Yeah, in 3 years.
But yeah, I just think it's one of those weird trifectas, right? Or not a trifecta, but it's just that weird moment in Hollywood where like everything worked perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow we got this movie that was like on a whole nother level than anyone anticipated.
Mm-hmm.
Dare I say wanted, because it is a challenging movie.
Yeah, so many people opposed it. You yourself signed petitions to not make it happen. And it is such a weird thing that on paper, a lot of it should not work. It does all come together, and it really is perfect.
It's just like, it is crazy good. I think it was another one for Nolan to flex his filmmaking skills. Mm-hmm. Not in terms of like showing off, but I think he was challenging himself.
Yeah.
With more IMAX shots, more the way he blocked some of the shots. I mean, the Joker's last scene is still, it takes, at least for me, it takes me a second where I feel my equilibrium be like, what's going on? And then you're like, okay, it's okay. Mm-hmm. But the whole like turn the camera.
Yeah.
Joker's hanging upside down, but he's facing right side up. And it's like Memento in a shot all over again. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of obvious improvements in the fight filming and fight choreography and action in Dark Knight than there is in Batman Begins. I think that he learned a lot and definitely wanted to do new things in Dark Knight that wasn't there before, and that he didn't have opportunity to do in his first three movies that were not action and fight heavy, basically.
Yeah, it was such a crazy good movie. It just is.
Oh, I think it always will be.
Yeah. When I hear people say that this trilogy doesn't stand the test of time, I'm always like, you're clearly not watching this trilogy, because it still weirds me out that it concluded in 2012. That doesn't make sense to me, because it still feels like it just came out. Yeah. But it didn't.
Yeah. And it's also kind of timelessly relevant, the story and the themes and things. It's not like they just tried to make a cool Batman movie, and so they made a cool Batman movie for that time. It really is we've made a important thematic movie about a hero's journey that is always going to be relevant, because it's the same. If you could watch this movie in the 60s, it would be just as relevant as it is in 2050, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's just it. You know what I thought was weird? I didn't realize this until reading up on some stuff on it for this. I didn't realize that the Batman theme only plays twice in the movie. Like the full theme.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that, but it plays twice. And the idea was like, because you're waiting for Batman to do the full-fledged hero thing, which he's just working towards the whole movie and trying to combat and maintain. I think that's an interesting theme. The Dark Knight is really Bruce trying to just maintain after learning a hard lesson. How do I not cross the line? How do I not, even though it would make total sense and everyone would be like, yep, do it.
Right. And it helps that the stakes were escalated so much that I think he starts to wonder, have I bit off more than I can chew? Am I really cut out for this? Do I have what it takes? All of that important stuff for him to actually succeed and grow and all that good stuff.
Yeah. Man, I'm not going to lie to you, there's like a little hesitation to bring up Rises, because I know to bring up Rises, we have to bring up like kind of a tragic moment, and not kind of, like it was.
Yeah.
But we kind of have to.
Yeah.
Rises is amazing. I know some people rip into it a lot with like the Bane voice or some of the sillier moments in it. I really don't have hardly any issues with it. Mainly because I'm a fanboy, but
yeah,
at least I can admit it. But watching The Dark Knight Rises was another experience for me for like a couple different reasons. One, to watch the finale, but two, we saw it the night after the Aurora theater shooting.
Right. And we saw it in Denver, in Aurora, basically, at an IMAX theater. Yeah.
Yeah. That was a trip. Man, I remember so many people, my ex-wife included, who were like, please be safe, to the point where they were also saying, I don't know that you should go to this movie, because everyone was afraid. And I remember when we were at the theater, I remember walking into the front doors, all the cops were out front, but then taking the elevator or escalator up and seeing even more cops and all the signs of like no masks, no costumes, no purses, nothing was allowed into the doors.
Yeah.
That's the first.
While they still showed it to people.
Yeah.
Didn't just say, so pump the brakes, we'll wait.
That was a trip, man. I had never walked into a movie theater to see that much security. It was a little daunting. I'll say it was a little daunting because it was like, oh, this is like, obviously shootings are very serious, but it just kind of, I don't know how to brought it home, I guess.
Yeah, you've never seen a movie that you kind of felt in danger to go see. Like that's never been a thing before. It was weird.
But I do remember, I know you and I were pretty vocal about it, where it was like, we're still going to see the movie. One, we really want to because we're fans. But two, we're not going to let that guy control us this way.
We're millennials. We're childs of 9/11. You can't let the terrorists win.
It's true. I laugh, but that's because that was our slogan.
Right.
For like, man, how many years was that? That was like, I think we were still saying that slogan even after Obama. It's like, we're done. We're like, can't let the terrorists win, dude. Yeah, it was just, that was such a crazy trip. I know for me, partially because, I take my fandom kind of serious when it comes to Batman and this trilogy in particular. But I remember sitting next to you and Christy. I couldn't take my eyes off the screen. I was so like, like my heart, the opening of the movie, right? So you get the quiet, you get the ice breaking that make the bat symbol. And then it opened up with Harvey's funeral, Gordon's final words at Harvey's funeral. And I remember immediately just being like, I think they're killing Batman. Like, I really don't think, I had joked about it. I had told people like, this might be it. There was just something about how the movie opened.
Very somber.
That I was like, this is somber.
Of course, we're seeing it in a somber situation as well, which doesn't help.
Right. I was like, Batman Begins kicks off with Bruce falling and being taught the lesson that is the whole universal theme of the trilogy of why do we fall? So we can learn to pick ourselves up. Dark Knight starts off with like the heist of this chaos that, is going to challenge Batman. And then the third one kicks off with a funeral. Like, it even starts off, it's quiet. It's super sad right out the gate. And then, of course, you get to the airplane sequence, which is still one of the wildest things to watch on screen.
Yeah. Yeah. Incredible.
I'm so thankful we saw it on IMAX to see that, like, as Nolan wanted us to see it. Because that was... People, if you've never gone to an IMAX screen, please do.
Yeah. It's way worth it. And it's still a trip on, home video just to see when the wings come off that plane and starts lifting vertically, and then they blow the top and go inside, and you're like, this is so thrilling, like nothing I've ever been thrilled by before.
You get the crazy new music that comes with it, which is, to me, like the soundtrack to The Dark Knight Rises. I know I talked about it on our scores episode, but it's so cool. It's so good, where it just like, it really does make me like, okay, I can feel like it gets the blood pumping, because you're just
escalates, like, for sure.
It really does. I know people, I think people just latched on to like making fun of the different voices used by some of the actors, like Christian Bale with the growling, and then Tom Hardy with the Bane voice. I love the Bane voice.
So do I.
I'm like,
I've always loved it.
Yeah. I don't know where people are like, I'll mock it sometimes, but
it's fun to do.
It's fun to do. And it doesn't kill your throat to do it.
Yeah. I'll do it in non-serious scenarios, and it's very fun to do. But in the movie, it doesn't seem silly. It seems really, really good.
I actually think Tom Hardy as Bane is like, I know it's very famous and very loved by so many people. I still feel it's like an underrated role of his, or performance of his.
Yeah.
Because so much of his performance has to be just in his eyes.
Totally.
Like,
and his physicality, but yeah.
And the physicality, but there's so many scenes where he's making some of his big speeches, or just his body language. How they pulled off a scene where all he does is putting his hand on a guy's shoulder, where you're like, oh, I felt my stomach drop. Like, so this is what Doom feels like. That's what.
Right. You think that gives you power over me?
I'm Gotham's Reckoning. Yeah, I think it's an underrated performance, because it required so much more from Tom Hardy in terms of actual acting, with the subtleties, or just very simple moves, but to have weight to those moves and those expressions. I am curious though, Jake, because you've hinted to it, so I think we should just get it out the gate, or get it out of the way.
Sure.
What are your couple issues with The Dark Knight Rises?
I only have one, really.
Oh, okay.
And it's not even my issue. It's one that that is kind of more common, and it's Miranda Tate's death, or Talia al Ghul's death, that she has even expressed that she did not love how that worked out, and she would have loved to do it over, but didn't really get to. And just the way that she just suddenly like is dead, that's a little bit silly for sure. And it's not like a big thing at all. The other thing that it's not an issue, but it is a little funny to me, is how unsafe they are with that atom bomb. Like, they are completely unconcerned with it not getting blown up, not getting crashed into things, dropped on the ground many times. Like, I understand that it's for the audience to be like, oh, you shouldn't do that. Oh, it's going to go off at any second, kind of thing. But it is like a lot that they're like shooting rockets at it. It's a lot to do, for sure.
Okay. Yeah. Miranda's death scene, it's funny because sometimes I watch it and it doesn't seem bad or awkward at all. And then other times I'll be watching it and I'll be like, that is really just kind of like, okay. And then it's done.
And it comes after like a great monologue and all that stuff.
It really does.
It just like abruptly ends. It's kind of weird.
It's funny. I wouldn't call it an issue with her death scene. It's just one that I'm like, okay, like, I guess that happens. I have one moment in the movie every time I watch it that I'm always like, the editing is so weird on this one part.
Is it the beginning?
No.
Okay. I had that for the longest time with the cut to the airplane, cut to the party, cut to the airplane, cut to the party thing.
Oh,
where it
really?
just seemed like, yeah. And I don't know if it was partly the early IMAX sound design and that's smoothed out in home video or whatever. And I don't, but I there was just always like, this feels off in some way. But I don't feel that now. Like, I just rewatched it. I was like, I'm fine with it. So I don't know where that came from.
Yeah. No, it's when Bruce is in Selena's apartment, okay, and they're talking, and when he's getting ready to leave, like they've had their conversation, and then Bruce is getting ready to leave, and he goes, "I like your place," and then that's the end of the scene. It's just, I don't know. It's not like an issue.
Yeah.
It's just, it always just seems kind of like they wanted one last thing there. And I'm always like, he's referencing her comment when he first walks in of like, it's not the rich apartment. So I get why he's saying it. It's just, there's something about the abrupt edit of it. Cause she's basically giving him the cold shoulder. And then he's like, I like your place. And then he leaves. He doesn't even stick around to hear her like response or nothing. The editing of that always kind of is like, huh. And then I move on with my life. So I can't say that it's like a real issue. It's something that I notice.
I think it's like they're clearly going for a playfulness between the two of them. Yeah. And there are other times where it works really, really well. Like when she's
like the ballroom scene.
Yeah, or when she's like, I'm sorry, I what did she say? Did she say, I'm sorry I stole your pearls or something? And he's like, no, you're not.
Yeah.
He knows her. He knows like what motivates her, where she's at, what she's doing. And that playfulness definitely sells. But yeah, the apartment thing where it's like, oh, it's really nice in here, honestly. I don't really get that as a
it's an
the same
odd
thing.
Edit. But that's it for me.
Okay.
All the other stuff I actually really enjoy. I think
a lot of people complain about the Robin thing.
Huh?
A lot of people complain about the Robin thing. How do you feel about Robin?
I have no issue with the Robin thing.
I love it. Like it's a little shoehorned in.
Yeah.
Like I don't think you have to say Robin, but I guess for general audiences you have to say Robin. As soon as he's like, it's not my legal name, I was like, yeah, it's Robin. We've all been saying you're going to be Robin. Right. Finally, you're Robin.
We've known this. Like, I remember the moment they announced Joseph Gordon-Levitt was going to be in Dark Knight Rises, all of us were like, so he's Robin.
Yeah.
Right age.
Like, no, he's definitely a cop. Wink, wink.
Right. Like, that's all he is. John Blake. Sure.
Yeah, John sounds like a real name. Sure.
Yeah, I have no issue with the Robin thing. I think that was Nolan's obvious last of his fun Easter eggs that he was putting in for Batman fans.
Yeah. It's hard to make a Batman movie and not have something like that.
Right.
And to have the boys' school and the boys' home be a key part of the movie, that the Wayne Manor becomes a boys' home, and it's just such an important part of the character.
It just makes complete sense. I would say the first time I saw it, I wasn't expecting his name to actually be Robin. I thought they were going to say like Richard or say Grayson, something like that. That's what I kind of expected. But I do like Nolan's decision with it. I think it fits in line with the Rachel Dawes decision making or the opera decision making, where he's like, I'm going to take this thing that people know, I'm going to show it, but we'll do it in our world's version of it. And I think that's what makes sense. So I have no issue with it.
Yeah. And I think it accomplishes all the important things that people didn't even know was happening while they were watching it, that he's taken this orphan under his wing and mentored him as a protege, and he doesn't even have to be Robin. He can just be Batman after him. And that's all Batman ever really wanted.
Right.
To be that symbol.
And I actually really like his character, Gordon-Levitt's character. One of my favorite things is how just brutally honest, and how he's like, of course you're Batman. Like, it kind of makes you think there's probably a lot of people in Gotham that know, just based off of his observation and how he figured it out. Like, had nothing to do with all the stuff. He's like, the way he tells Bruce, I knew it was that you're Batman, is just based on like, I recognized the mask that you put on for the public, because we all, so many people will wear a mask for the public. So I think that was very cool. I think that's also like I don't know if this is confirmed, but to me it's very reminiscent of Tim Drake, which is one of the Robins. He's actually the Robin that became Robin because he knew Bruce was Batman. Like he's so smart, he figured it all out, and then he makes his way into the Batcave, and that's like, what else are you gonna do, dude? You can train me, or hope I don't tell my friends.
Make him an offer he can't refuse.
Right. No, Rises is so interesting to me. I remember when it first came out, there were some people that told me they had an issue because Batman wasn't in the movie enough. And I was like, well, you get the whole point. Like, this is Bruce's actual fall. This is his defeat. So the point is he's got to literally rise
from the
up.
ashes. Yeah.
He's got to rise to the occasion. He's got to do what he's got to do. But it's not just that. He's got to get the city to finally stand up, which is so cool that he does it. And it was the first time that we get Batman during the day.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Pretty awesome. Yeah. And it's like a full war. To hear Batman be like, war.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
You gave me an army. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Rises is such a better movie than people want to give it credit for. I don't know.
I don't understand why it never has really gotten the love that I think it deserves, because it is just as good as all of the others.
It really is. Like, it's intense, it's sad, it's brutal. We got the fight with Batman and Bane that everyone, my daughter, she still refuses to watch it. She's never been able to get past their first fight. She just can't watch it. She knows how the rest of the movie pans out. So I'm like, so you should be good with watching this because you know how the rest goes. And she's like, can't do it, Dad. It's like there's something about the way it's shot, the sound, watching Batman struggle and get beat. She's like, can't do it. Just don't want to do it. Yeah,
sure.
It like when she tried to watch it the first time, it affected her on a level I don't think either of us really expected, which I think is telling for how effective Nolan's style of storytelling can be and tends to be for people, where it's like, it's not just this surface film. Like, there are some deep things that he's going to resonate with the audience. So I always think about that. I'm like, man, my kid still can't watch past this point. Like, she just won't do it. Like, you want to see
it is definitely an intense thing. Like, I have that same sort of a feeling watching it, to see Batman go through that and get beaten and get destroyed in such a serious way and worry that he can never come back from it is a kind of a visceral reaction for sure.
Yeah. Good thing we know the comics. We know the source material. So all of us were like, this is brutal. He comes back.
And I was so sure, having the League of Shadows and Ra's al Ghul and all this stuff involved, I was sure a Lazarus Pit was going to come up at some point. And then I guess that's too comic booky for people to have like a immortal fountain of youth kind of a situation.
Well, I don't know if it would have been considered too comic booky.
I'm sure it would have been changed. It would have been like, there's this place that has this, I don't know, whatever. You can make it a real world kind of a thing.
Well, Nolan had always said that he didn't want the supernatural a part of his world that he created for this, because he wanted it to be as grounded as possible.
Yeah.
So I don't think he was ever going to put like a Lazarus Pit in. Now, if James Gunn, with whatever he's going to do, if he brings back Ra's al Ghul, he'd probably do the Raish pronunciation so that he can have his distinguished.
Probably, yeah.
Having a Lazarus Pit would make sense.
Yeah, I think it would.
In his world. it would make a lot of sense. But who knows what he's doing with that?
We'll find out in 2 years, I guess. Well, not in 2 years, because
not in 2 years. Like, he hasn't even talked about Batman. He's just talking about, well, I'm writing and filming Superman 2, which is like cool. I think every audience just showed you, like, we're waiting for one character.
Did they walk back the Brave and the Bold thing? Because I know they announced it.
There's been like no update on it.
Okay. I didn't know if he's like, well, maybe not right now, kind of.
It's just kind of in limbo. He said he can't. He said Batman is the biggest headache for him because he's trying to make sure he gets it right.
Mm-hmm.
Which you should. And I'm like, I'm kind of worried he's going to overthink it.
Yeah.
And it won't come out great. But we're not talking that. Anyways, I could see that existing in that world. But as far as I know, Nolan never wanted the supernatural aspects to exist.
Yeah. Which makes sense.
Which is, Bane doesn't have the venom, so he doesn't become 10 times larger than he already is. I do love, one of my favorite nods is the Killer Croc nod. Because, like, if you're a Batman fan, you get it immediately. If you're not a comic book fan or know the characters all that well, you just laughed because it reminded you of, like, the alligator lore in New York.
Yeah,
but
in the sewers.
The giant killer alligators in the sewers, like,
right.
That's a great
thing.
Villain in the comics. Not so much in the Suicide Squad, but great in the comics.
Yeah, moment of silence for that movie.
But But I do remember, again, it's like, it's really the experience that just, like, these movies are so unique just because of how invested I realized I was in them. And it really, 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 really hit me during Rises. Like, during his fight with Bane when he gets his back broke. Obviously I knew he gets his back, like, he builds himself back up. He's going to show up. But it like hit me in such a, like, deep core where it really took me off guard. And I know your wife has, like, mentioned this a few times. Chrissy's talked about this where...
Oh, she'll never forget it. Watching you watch this movie is her favorite part of this movie.
And I don't even know how I was acting, but I do know that I could not look away from the screen. I was so sucked into it and blown away that I got a full Batman trilogy. I got not just a comic book trilogy, but it's like an emotional human story. And it was inspiring to me in ways that, like, no other movie ever had been. The trilogy as a whole. This one definitely has its moments that are just so cool, like Bruce climbing out of the pit. He's going to make it. And it's still the, like, I want to cheer every time I watch it.
Yeah. The music helps a lot.
The music definitely helps. See, I told you. The soundtrack is amazing.
Yeah, it is.
But it's just, man. Like, when I watch it, there are parts I have no issue with it, but I do chuckle a little bit because I'm like, of all the things in the trilogy that are unbelievable or unrealistic, holding a whole city hostage seems on that side of things, like you said earlier, where you're like, I don't know how this would actually work. But it's presented in a way where you're like, okay, this seems plausible for this universe.
Yeah. Bane definitely sells it to me as a realistic thing. The thing that's the most unbelievable that I often am like, oh, that's not how that works, is Matthew Modine's character, who's always calling Blake a hothead and dismissing him out of every situation. Like, it's a little too much. It's a little weird. But like, fun Easter egg for all of you out there. If you've ever seen, was it Full Metal Jacket? No, yeah. I was always confused Full Metal Jacket and Apocalypse Now. It's not Apocalypse Now. It's the other one. Full Metal Jacket.
Definitely not Apocalypse Now.
Matthew Modine plays Joker in that movie. And so you could say Joker's in this movie too.
Ish. Which was supposed to be a thing, but
unfortunately could not happen. My favorite thing about this movie is that we have it was the first, not the first, but my favorite rendition of Selena Kyle. She's always been a great relational counterpart to Bruce, and Batman Returns is good, is very, very good, and I love that version for what it is. But Anne Hathaway, who I don't even love Anne Hathaway, this is her best role that I've ever seen, partly because her acting is so good in it. She does a great job of showing that same mask that she shares with Bruce, that she's able to put on and take off her mask, whether it's when they first meet and she stops pretending to be a waitress or a maid or whatever, and then particularly when she drops off his fingerprints with Daggett, I think, that and she just like goes into that helpless victim facade and starts screaming and all that stuff. I'm like, that was the most incredible instantaneous acting I think I've ever seen.
It's such a great compliment to Bale's Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
With how quick and easily he drops in and out of his character of the billionaire, like the party boy idea. She does it too with the victimization. I agree with you. Like, I have nothing against Anne Hathaway. This is my favorite role of hers, because her range on it, I think, is way higher than people think. And it's because of the scenes where she's showing both personalities within the same beat.
Right.
You know,
and she has great scenes with Bruce where she's being vulnerable and being afraid and being like wanting the best for him, but also wanting to be very selfish herself and not give anything away.
So this version of Bruce and Selena, or Batman and Catwoman, this is the one that makes the most sense to me of why they would be attracted to each other and end up together.
Yeah, work out.
Because they're the same, but they're not. It's interesting. Like, from two different sides of the economy.
Yeah.
And so they understand each other on a level that I don't think anyone else does or could. But then they share the same, some of the same principles. She's okay with guns. He's not. But I'm pretty sure they get over that. Yeah, this one just makes the most sense to me. The way they interact, their chemistry together, the jokes they make with each other, their basic understanding of each other. It's the most believable one. I have nothing against Batman Returns. That one makes sense too, because they're both pretty messed up people on polar extreme opposites. The version with Robert Pattinson, that one's good. That one I still find myself trying to fully understand at times, but this one is like an instant, yep, this is it. This one kind of reminds me of the animated series where you just it makes sense. This is the most understandable one.
It definitely connects the most.
Yeah. I do love, as intense as the bar scene is with the fingerprints, the one that puts the biggest smile on my face is their first interaction with each other, where she's like, you're not going to beat up an innocent lady any more than I'm going to beat up a cripple. And she kicks his cane out. She's like, oops. And then she goes to the window. I can't help but smile during that one, because it's so fluid. It happens so fast. You almost don't see her kick her leg out. And then it's such a silly detail, but the way that she jumps out of the window.
The backflip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always
like
reminds me.
The graceful backflip. Yeah.
Right. It reminds me of the animated series, because every time Catwoman in that would leave out of windows or buildings, she would always do this like graceful, like she knows she's going to land on her feet.
Totally.
Yeah, this is my favorite Anne Hathaway. It helps that it's Catwoman, because Catwoman's awesome. But I think she shows a lot more range and some really interesting acting chops during this role that she doesn't get credit for. And I think it's because she doesn't rely on crying for 2 hours. She doesn't rely on being a victim. She's actually the opposite. And she can fight. I think it's pretty cool. She's got some moves in this movie. Like,
yeah, she's badass for sure.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, I will say, like, the fight with Bane at the end, fighting amongst like the whole horde of people. This is another one where you're like, this movie easily could have been rated R. Like, had there been
I kind of wish I saw that version. That cut or whatever.
But it's Nolan. He doesn't do special director cuts. No. But I love the escalation. I love, like, even their second fight, where typically movies like this, they tend to have like the big hero or the second hero and villain fight where the hero's definitely the one coming out on top. Normally it's pretty one-sided, where the hero is like really coming at. This one still shows like Batman has to dig deep to like take the hits, to dodge the hits. Yeah. And I love that he aims for the mask. It's such a, like, again, the intelligence.
Yeah.
He knows.
That one would do that for sure.
Right. Well, I mean, he does it like in the comics and the cartoons where Bane's got the venom. He always aims for the tubes. If I can knock out the venom, I know I've got him at a disadvantage. So I like that Batman exploits that. I know some people have been like, why does Bane punch the column twice when Batman's already, like, ran away? I would answer you, momentum. He is punching so fast and so, like, fervently.
Yeah.
He's just in the motion.
Yeah. Also, Bane is a berserker. Like, he's just kind of going crazy.
He's a berserker.
Yeah.
There is something really satisfying, though, of Batman kicking him through the doors and getting in his face with the where is it for the detonator. I love the then you have my permission to die. Like,
yeah,
it's so good. Unfortunately,
man, I don't remember if the reveal of Talia, if I like bought it or not, like if I saw it coming or not. I don't even remember. It's been so long.
I remember the moment that, like, trailers were coming out for the movie. Everyone was speculating that it's going to come back to the first one. It's going to connect to Begins, which means it'll be the League of Shadows. Roz is probably going to come back somehow. I remember people talking about, like, I think we're going to get the Lazarus pool.
Yeah, be reincarnated or whatever.
Right. I remember hearing people being like, I think Bane is part of it, maybe running it now. So hearing those rumblings, but trying not to be a part of it, but you can't help but, like, wonder yourself. I do remember thinking, if there was ever a time to have Talia al Ghul, this would be it.
Yeah.
And then I remember thinking, like, but the big kicker with Talia is her and Bruce have to, like, have an affair. Like, they have to be lovers. So the reveal of Talia is not shocking. I don't remember feeling surprised, but feeling more just like, look at Chris Nolan go with bringing yet another, like, very important character in the Rogue Gallery that no one's ever even bothered to do. I remember being more proud of that, but I honestly remember being more, like, engaged with how they revealed her, where she, like, stabs him in the back or in the side, piercing through the bone, and and being more engaged with his reaction to the betrayal.
Yeah.
Because that, like, he sells that so well, where the way he's looking at her and just that understanding of, like, oh my gosh, like, I totally overlooked this whole thing, and now it's really, like, you really think for a second there that he's starting to believe, I don't think I'm coming out on top. Like, this might be the end.
Yeah.
And it doesn't help that Bane gets up and starts, like, tying the rope around his neck, and you're like, this is brutal.
Yeah, you had the upper hand for a second and couldn't finish it, and now you may have lost it forever.
Yeah. So I don't remember being surprised by the Talia reveal, but being more surprised with the way they did it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure.
That makes sense. I'm just so happy that we have a live action Talia. We have a live action Roz. Like, this is cool to me because we're probably never going to get them again. So it's really neat. Now, Gunn has said that he wants to bring Damien in, which means he has to bring Roz, which means he has to bring Talia, which would be why he would have to have the Lazarus Pit, but
for sure.
Pool. But we might find out someday if they ever get a script written. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. So how would you wrap up your feelings on this perfect trilogy? Even though I listed some issues, it's still a perfect trilogy. All 3 movies are perfect.
But I think that's okay to have those quote unquote issues. Because Nolan never claims any of his movies to be perfect. He never claims to be like even a master at writing and directing and produce. Like, he never claims it. He never even actually, not that I've gotten from like interview. Yeah, I think he's actually a pretty humble guy because he's always trying to learn how to improve based off of his previous film. I do want to see Nolan make a comedy, though.
I mean, anybody that says that they love the Talladega Nights has to be humble in some way.
They have to be humble. So I think it's okay that these aren't 100% perfect. I think that is humbling. And who knows, maybe Nolan purposely had a couple of those moments to humble himself. That would be cool. Who knows?
I chalk it all up to, it's a miracle that any movie is any good just because of how many moving parts that there are and how many thumbs there are in the pie and so many opportunities for it to fall on its face, that for anything to be pretty decent is pretty amazing. And so to get a movie that's perfect by a lot of people's definition is a miracle. And so
it's pretty incredible.
It's just part of the so many moving parts, I think.
Man, trying to sum up this trilogy, dude, I just think I don't know that we're gonna get not just another Batman kind of like with the impact that this trilogy has had, but I don't know if we're gonna get another trilogy that has this kind of like weight to it. You know, I don't know. I don't think we've gotten like a truly great trilogy for a long time.
Yeah, that's a good point as well. To like this and Lord of the Rings are kind of it.
But it just, I think this is like I think what makes it stand still really tall. One, you said it, is that it's timeless. So they never set it in a specific year. They never set it in like, because the technology, even in Batman Begins, is so advanced already that it's kind of believable that it'll take place whenever. But I think it comes down to just the way they told the hero story using Bruce Wayne as their subject, and the inspiration and the reminder of all these things, and that to really appreciate this trilogy, you really do have to let yourself be challenged, and you really do have to think in broader terms of not just what's happening directly on screen, but there are so many moving parts around these characters that you have to keep in mind of, not to overwhelm yourself, but I mean, the movies are emotionally affecting.
Mm-hmm.
And I do remember, like, that last shot of Batman in the bat as he's flying the bomb over the ocean. Like, they do that close-up of him just kind of at peace.
Yeah.
Which is that is a crazy concept for Batman as a whole.
True. Yep.
And we get to see him have peace. Like, that's crazy in such a cool and inspiring way, because it kind of helps ground us who have always claimed I could be Batman. I would totally be Batman, where it's like he never fully experiences peace until this moment. And of course, then you see the bomb go off, and at first you're like, that was really it. Like, they really did that. And you get the...
I think that shot of peace is what sold it to me, that he wasn't coming back, because the first thing you need is to want to escape the explosion. And if he's fine with not, then that's it.
Right.
And so he seemed completely okay with fulfilling his mission of giving the city everything to save it. And then that's what it's going to be. And I was completely okay if that's the way the movie ended.
Right. I'm very thankful that they do end the whole trilogy with Bruce having peace and having that kind of clean slate where he gets to just go and live a life. Which is the one thing that, like, his mom and dad wanted for him the whole time, that Alfred always wanted and pressed, was like, Bruce actually gets to go and have a real life. And it is fun seeing him and Selena together, and she's wearing the pearls, which is a blast. That's just like, that's such good comic book, like, sticking to your source material. That's just good. That's good writing. But I think that's ultimately what really does it for me, dude, is like, it's such an inspiring trilogy. And it takes you through a pretty intense journey. Not just like, oh, it's Batman, but like, I think everyone walks these journeys that obviously not literally the same as this trilogy shows, but we all have to face fears that are overwhelming. That, you know, are going to challenge us on even deciding on a moral stance.
Yeah.
We're all going to be thrown into some chaos that is overwhelming, defeating, push us to our limit, like right up to the limit. And ultimately we have to, like, overcome it, whether it's, you know, it's like when Bane says, I was wondering what was going to break first, your spirit or your body. And it's Batman's body that breaks first. His spirit does not until, well, his spirit never really breaks.
Yeah. That's the point.
And that's the point, is like, he doesn't allow the spirit to be broken. And that's inspiring, because ultimately through all of this stuff, through 30-ish years, well, 38 years, because he's 38 in Dark Knight Rises.
That's interesting.
You know, he's struggled so much.
We're almost 38.
I am 38.
Oh, am I 38? Maybe.
Yeah,
I will.
38.
Yeah, it's September, isn't it? Okay, yeah, I'm recently 38.
Yeah, you're 38.
In July. Okay.
But yeah, so I think it's really cool how it humanized Batman in such a way that I think a lot of people have overlooked. Because this trilogy is not just the hero's journey, but it's our daily walk through our lives of just being put in these situations, these circumstances, these tests, these trials, and just the importance to persevere through it all. And ultimately, because there is peace at the end of it. So I think that's such a cool way to show it, of like, yes, Batman is a brute force that, yes, he will not shy away from beating down bad guys, which you do see him do in this movie. Him dropping him from the balcony, counting on his legs to get broke. Like, that's a Batman move. Like, yeah, I'm not going to kill you, but I will break your body.
I'm counting on it. Yeah.
But I think that's ultimately it. And I think it's such a cool way of expressing our lives when we're trying to seek something better than like ourselves. When we put ourselves when we humble ourselves for something better, I think that's such a cool, this trilogy is such a cool way to show that, using such a unique character to do it with. And it's just, it's so inspiring. And I do like, I never make it out of Rises without tearing up a little bit, because it's such a moving story.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that's one of the things that Chris, you probably got a kick out of, was like, yeah, I totally cried that first showing. I was just like, I couldn't believe this was the story I was watching. To see Batman, Bruce Wayne's Batman, actually conclude on the big screen. Like, that's so crazy to me.
Right.
But then the legacy of Batman, the torch being passed on, like, that's so cool that it's like, it doesn't end. The hope doesn't end. The fight doesn't end. I just think, I think it's a very powerful trilogy that is so much bigger than just Batman. It's so much bigger than just Christopher Nolan's epic trilogy. It's us. It's life. And it's told in such a unique way. So super long way of saying I really like this trilogy. But
I think that's perfect. I have absolutely no notes, nothing to add to that. I think you said it all perfectly. It really is a perfectly human story that speaks to the timelessness of it, that it will always inspire people for the rest of time. So I completely agree.
It's just so good, and it's I'm so thankful we have it. I think you and I and other big fans of this trilogy, or the character, I think we constantly have to like kind of humble ourselves, or like come down a level when a new iteration is going to come out, or talking of it, because we shouldn't get stuck in the like, this is the only good version, because everyone does their own thing different. And even Pattinson's Batman, like, they do that too in that one, where it's like, you see him struggling with anger and identity, and then he finally figures out, like, oh, so this is what I need to do. This is where this path is taking me. Like, Batman is such an inspiring character that I think that gets overlooked a lot, just because of it's Batman.
Right. Superman's supposed to be the symbol of hope and inspiration.
Superman's the symbol of hope, but I really think Batman is like the symbol of perseverance and enduring. Batman really showcases what walking through trials can look like. And I think Bale's version, the way Nolan wrote the character and Bale played him, is the best iteration for that fact that it's the most human. He might not be the most comic book accurate, but Affleck gets to hold that title. Unless Gunn casts someone, if Alan Richardson ends up playing Batman, that could be interesting. That could be a lot of fun.
I'd be into it for sure.
This trilogy is just, it's unreal. And the effect that it's had is incredible. It really is. If you think about it, so in terms of like Marvel, so Marvel's got 40 movies or something like that, and TV shows.
At least,
It's kind of dumb. It's cool. Except for the fact that to know what's going on in like one of the movies, you have to watch the entire catalog that came before it.
How many of those 40 does anybody really care about that much?
And remember all that well.
Yeah.
Right?
5, 6, maybe?
Maybe, but you bring up the Dark Knight trilogy, and it's like everyone instantly remembers the trilogy. They think Joker first, and then it's Bane, and then it's Batman voice. But the more they remember it, the more it just keeps fleshing out. So I think, and it did so much more than just be a cool movie. I mean, Cillian Murphy became like official huge leading man in Hollywood. Tom Hardy's career really blew up after that. Like, Christian Bale's kind of quieted down, but
it's the reason Nolan was able to make Inception and Interstellar.
Right. Like, Joseph Gordon-Levitt ended up being in more movies than I ever remember him previously being in. It's just crazy to see how this trilogy, for so many people, just expanded so much. I think it's really cool that Morgan Freeman and Michael Caine starred in it and are very proud of it. I love seeing interviews or reading interviews with them about it, and they're like, this was one of the best things ever. Gary Oldman has talked highly about how working with Nolan on Batman Begins, this trilogy as a whole, but how working with Nolan deepened his love for acting, his love for the characters, and portray, like, actually acting itself. Like, he just, and working with Batman. I think that's really cool when you get these seasoned old timers who are known for being like top tier drama.
Yeah.
They come out and they're like, this is some of the best work ever. These are like, this is it.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome. I think it's incredible. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's needed to make it work for sure.
The legacy is just, it's crazy.
Yeah. It's incredible. Revisiting it 20 years later, it just shines through for sure.
It really does. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't have anything else to say about it. I think I want to know what you connect with the most, listeners, what you love about the Nolan Dark Knight movies, Batman movies, and anything we missed, anything that is just a key detail that really resonates with you that you always come back to as thinking about or inspiring or whatever, because there's a lot of those, a lot to love in these movies for sure. Could only get through so much in 3 hours.
It's true. And, you could always send us your best Bane and Batman impressions. We would get a kick out of that.
You can leave us a voicemail and we will play it on the show potentially if it's any good. So if you want to do that while impersonating one of them, that would be really fun.
That would be a lot of fun.
So do that. Watch your random 10 movies that we need to before next episode. And I think that's all we have.
I think that's it.
Cool.
Yeah. Cool.
We appreciate you and we love you, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.